looking to the top end of the Premier League, they're now looking over their shoulders. The start they've had is nowhere near good enough, and it's very difficult to stem the tide of negativity that's almost come around overnight. So they're going to have to look at someone to stabilise the club immediately. And listen, there's names like there. Sean Dyche is for one. You know what he does. You know what he brings. He's no nonsense. He's got an affinity with the club. It's one of those. Who do you look at? Because if you're going to go and think, right, we're going to aim to fight and qualify for Europe at this time, I think you're going to be making the wrong decision. It needs solidifying, bringing the fans back together, everyone on a clear path of where they want to take the club again.
Yeah, so if you are just joining us, Ange Postecoglou sacked as Nottingham Forest manager after their 3-0 home defeat to Chelsea this lunchtime after only 8 games in charge at the City Ground. Much brighter times for these two sides. Some of the Crystal Palace and Bournemouth substitutes are making their way just along the pitch in the stand in front of us to take their place in the dugout. We've already got the little black boxes in front of the stand opposite us that are firing jets of heat out of them just to try and get everybody in the mood. The cheerleaders here at Crystal Palace on the pitch as well, forming their usual line, waiting for the players to emerge from the tunnel. And the big incentive for Bournemouth today, Luke, is that a win here, with Arsenal playing later on tonight against Fulham, they could go to the top of the Premier League table, which is extraordinary.
Oh, it's extraordinary. You look at the size of their stadium alone when you think of Bournemouth and what they've been able to pull together in such a short space of time, and that is the blueprint for any Premier League team that gets promoted from the Championship and wants to really put a marker down. And the job Iriola's done there has been absolutely incredible, but he's got those players bouncing, thriving and looking forward to every single match day.
Yeah, Fulham against Arsenal, 5:30, that's our commentary on 5 Live. We've got Manchester City against Everton on 5 Live from 3 o'clock. But if you're staying with us here on 5 Live Sports Extra, you will be enjoying the sounds of Selhurst Park, and what a place this is for football, particularly right now. Crystal Palace, who of course lost that club record 19-match unbeaten run just before the international break when they were beaten in the very last seconds by Everton with that goal from Jack Grealish. But here they are back at their home in what hopefully is going to be an entertaining game, though I say that with slight trepidation because we thought that when these two played each other last season, Luke, and we had 2 rather dull 0-0s.
Yeah, we've got to hope that doesn't happen again. But you mentioned Selhurst Park, and as a player playing here, you always knew when things were going well here, it was such an atmosphere, and it was one you always look forward to. And this now, when the club is flying as high as they are, I just see attacking football week in, week out, and the players they've got at their disposal at the minute, and the form that they're in, and the belief that they're now showing under a manager who's done an incredible job. And again, he's going to be sought after for some major teams. Yeah,
and that manager, the Austrian Oliver Glasner, has just made his way along the touchline. A couple of waves with some of the crowd who were trying to attract his attention, and now he's gone into his dugout. Glasner, a little embrace with Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth coach, and the two teams themselves shaking hands right now and engaging with today's referee, the Australian Jared Gillett. The first thing that's caught my eye, Luke, I'm just looking at the two teams. Palace obviously in their standard blue and red striped shirts, but that salmon pink, all salmon, that Bournemouth are wearing, it's not too dissimilar a red to a lot of that portion of Crystal Palace shirts.
Yeah, it's certainly it's usually a lot different.
Yeah,
let's get it right. But again, I think the players that are wearing it will certainly be standing out this afternoon, and I just can't wait to see Antoine Semenyo running up and down this left-hand side, and want to look forward to seeing close up.
Yeah, he's rubbing a bit of the Vaseline on the chest at the moment. Antoine Semenyo, 6 goals already in the first 7 games of this Premier League season. Only Erling Haaland has scored more goals than him in the first 2 months of this new Premier League campaign. Right, let me give you the two teams then, with the two captains at the moment in the centre circle, Marc Guéhi and Marcus Tavernier. And we'll talk more about Marc Guéhi in a moment with the news in the last 24 hours that he will not be signing a new contract with Crystal Palace, which perhaps isn't going to be too much of a surprise to the Palace faithful. For Palace, unchanged from the game against Everton, so Henderson in goal, Richards, Lacroix and Guéhi the full-backs, the wing-backs, Munoz off the right, Mitchell on the left, Kamada and Wharton, and then Sarr and Pinault either side of Jean-Philippe Mateta, who scored his first France international goal during the week against Iceland, having made his debut a few days before. And for Bournemouth, well, their big significant team news, as we were finding out today at lunchtime, no Evan Nielsen because of a calf injury. So he is one of 3 Bournemouth changes. We already knew that David Brooks was absent too, and there's a change at right back with Jimenez replacing Hill. So Petrovic in goal, Jimenez, Diakite, Senesi and Truffert, and then Adams and Scott as the 2 holding midfielders, Tavernier, the captain, Kluivert, the in-form Semenyo, and an opportunity from the start for the French under-21 forward, Elie Junior Krupi, who did score his first Premier League goal against Leeds United a few weeks ago. The players all take the knee, as this is a no room for racism weekend in the Premier League. A blow of the whistle from Jared Gillett, and away we go, with Palace going from left to right towards the Holmesdale in this first half, which is normally their preference in terms of going at the big bank of home support in the second half. But Bournemouth have turned things around here, and from their left back position they clear it away, Bournemouth, with their fullback Truffert. And so, Luke Chambers, former Ipswich and Nottingham Forest defender, what can we expect from this encounter?
Well, just 2 formed teams, and you look forward to this battle, and they've changed they've won the toss, turned it around, and we're going to get to see Semenyo playing down this left-hand side closest to us. But that battle I'm looking forward to seeing between himself and Munoz, who's been in fantastic form for Palace this season. So real one that I'm looking forward to seeing. But I think it's just the attacking flair that both of them have, and how each and every single individual player is playing with so much confidence.
And we'll keep you updated as well with all the goals as they go in the Premier League this afternoon and the EFL, so you don't miss a beat with us here on 5 Live Sports Extra. Bournemouth pick the ball up 15 yards outside Palace's penalty area. Here's Semenyo trying to poke it through to Truffert. It's come back to Justin Kluivert, and Kluivert looked for the 1-2. Palace intercept, Palace bring it away. Semenyo has a tug of Ismail Assar's shirt, and because of that he's received a yellow card 68 seconds into this Premier League game, a booking for the in-form Antoine Semenyo.
Not an ideal start, that, especially in such a game that's going to be really, really well competed. Ismail Assar was getting away down this right-hand side for Palace, and he's just been pulled back by Semenyo, and a cheap one to give away so early on. So he'll have to maybe just take a little bit off it over the next 5 or 10 minutes to settle himself back into the game, because what they don't want to do, especially coming here with the atmosphere when it's so electric, is give the Selhurst faithful any reason to increase the volume even more.
A little rueful look as well on the face of Antoine Semenyo. A couple of minutes played, Palace 0, Bournemouth 0. Earlier today in the Premier League, Chelsea 3-0 winners at Nottingham Forest. Achiempong, Neto and Reece James with the goal. Malo Gusto was sent off late on in that game as well. In the Championship, there were wins for Oxford against Derby, Millwall at QPR, and Southampton and Swansea drew 0-0. I'll give you League 1 and League 2's early goals in a minute, but here's the first chance for Palace. Mitchell's looped cross from the left is claimed well by Petrovic. So in League 1, Peterborough 1-0 winners at Burton. Lincoln beat Stevenage by the same scoreline in the lunchtime games. And in League 2 earlier, it finished Cambridge 2, Bromley 1 and Salford 1, Oldham 0. This is Diakite, the Bournemouth centre-half, one of the new arrivals in the summer, having had that great reshuffle Bournemouth in those defensive areas with the departures of Kerkez and Housen, and of course they lost Kepa Aretha Balaga as well, the goalkeeper. Out to Truffert on the left-hand side, who can move forward with the ball and plays it infield for Tyler Adams, 15 yards inside his own half. Back to Truffert, who's now encroached into Palace territory, and he keeps going, plays a short pass to Semenyo, tries to return it to Truffert again, intercepted by Lecroix, and up towards Mateta for Palace. Luke.
Yeah, it's just an intriguing opening. They're having a little bit of a go at each other at the moment, and they're looking to get it out to Semenyo as quickly as possible, shifting it round the back four for Bournemouth, and moving it, like you say, with those new additions at centre-half. but getting it out to Truefair, he's been allowed quite a bit of space so far to step forward down this left-hand side, and Ismail Sarr's playing slightly inside, which is allowing Bournemouth to have a little bit more space down this left-hand side.
0-0, 3.5 minutes played. Bournemouth with certainly more of the ball so far as Senesi tries to force one forward. That was stopped by Lacroix, and now Palace can have a go at Bournemouth here. Sarr slipping it through, Mateta on the edge of the box, right-footed first time, and diving low to his right-hand side. A relatively routine save for Georgi Petrovic.
It was, but it certainly got everyone on their feet. I think the way they played through the lines from Richards at the back, and Lacroix found the midfield, got turned from Munoz and played it through to Ismail Sarr down this right-hand side, and he played a nice ball just inside the right channel, just led its way into the 18-yard box of Bournemouth, and Mateta got himself away but just couldn't get the strike off with enough power to get it across goal and put Palace 1-0 up.
Yeah, Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's been involved in a bit of a tete-a-tete, hasn't he, with Wilfried Zaha, one of his former teammates this week. I don't know if you saw that story, Lou.
I did. I just found it very strange, but what I did notice today especially, and you talk about Nottingham Forest and think what's happened today, it's one of those where you think, how can we keep everything calm, how can we keep it unsettled, and you listen to those stories coming out of Palace. You see Glasner walking along in his last year of his contract, you see Gahey talking about his last year. There's no real negativity here at Selhurst Park, and that's where you need to be as a football club.
Yeah, and they've got European football this season as well. They've got AEK Larnaca coming here, the Cypriot side, on Thursday. Bournemouth have won themselves a corner here, I think. It looks like Justin Kluivert is going to put the ball down. I wasn't sure whether the Palace clearance had gone out for a throw or a corner, but Kluivert's taken authority of the situation. At the moment, the referee, Jared Gillard, is just having a chat with Marcus Tavernier. I think there were one or two Bournemouth complaints about a potential shirt pull on Krupi as he broke away down the left-hand side. But Krupi's won the corner, so 0-0 the scoreline between Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. It's the Bournemouth corner in towards that near post from Kluivert. The Palace clearance, which has come back out to Kluivert again. Sarr's down on his knees in the box at the moment. Swung back in, the header across goal, nobody there to meet it, perhaps a little too heavy, and the ball has gone out of play. It's going to be a Bournemouth throw, but before they get the chance to take it, I think the referee wants to check on the welfare of Ismail Sarr here.
Yeah, I think Kluivert underhit his corner. Ismail Sarr was very, very brave in that near post, just had to stoop down to head the ball clear to the edge of the box, and I think he just got one clip on the back of his head and he stayed down. Unfortunately, Palace were able to defend it and get it out for another corner.
So another one from Kluivert for Bournemouth from the left. That had some pace on it. Semenyo's touch is headed in, pretty much on the goal line. It is 1-0, and it is Eli Junior Krupi who was there with the vital touch, and with his second Premier League goal, no more than a couple of yards out. Real pace on the delivery from Kluivert's corner, the flick from Semenyo, the finish from Krupi, and Bournemouth, as it stands, atop of the Premier League table. Palace 0, Bournemouth 1.
Absolutely incredible start, and it's been Bournemouth since the start, getting inside Palace's half early on. But we mentioned the ball before from Kluivert, it was under hit, managed to get a second opportunity, just raised the level by a yard or two at the near post, and Semenyo, with his frame, the size of him, and he's able to get the leap to flick it to the back post. It almost looked like it was looping into the back post on its own, but Krupi's not going to turn that one down, and what a start for him playing through the middle. He's chased every single ball in this first 7 minutes, and what a reward for him just to creep in at that back post unmarked to put Bournemouth 1-0 up.
And right now, the noise coming from the away fans in the Arthur Waite stand opposite us here at Selhurst Park, and that was a lovely moment for Eli Junior Krupi to go and celebrate right in front of them as well, with a kiss of the badge, a second Premier League goal for him, and off the back of a really good week, because he scored a couple for the French under-21s as well against Estonia, and he was on hand to put Bournemouth into a priceless lead in London.
Absolutely, what a start from them. And they've looked very comfortable. And I say about the atmosphere here at Selhurst when things are going really well for Palace, as they are at the moment, but they've started on the front foot. I feel the shape potentially is causing them problems, especially down this left-hand side. Yeah, and
it's those two again, isn't it? Kluivert and Semenyo with the 1-2, and then Kluivert is sent up into the air by Munoz, who puts both his arms outstretched either side of him to say there was no contact from me, but that's not how Jared Gillett saw it, and it's a Bournemouth free kick, and again, Luke, in a dangerous position.
It is. You can't be giving free kicks away, especially with the quality of Bournemouth have from set pieces. And you look like it's going to be Kluivert again to deliver this one. But the problem is, at the minute, I've seen from the start inside this first 8 minutes, you've got Semenyo out on the left-hand side, you've got Tavernier on the other side, and you've got Krupi through the middle. But Palace are playing with a back five, so they're keeping 5 players back. So every time they go to switch the ball, they've got a lot more space in these wide areas.
So we've already seen one delicious delivery from the left side from Justin Kluivert, the corner that led to the goal. This is a free kick. Again, it had some vigour on it, that ball in from Kluivert with his right foot, and it's headed behind by Chris Richards. And Bournemouth will have a corner. They're leading 1-0, 9 minutes played, and 9 minutes, Luke Chambers, that they've largely dominated. Yeah,
Bar Mateta's sort of half chance where he's gone through in this right-hand side channel inside the box and not really got a shot off. It's been all Bournemouth. And you've got Kluivert on the ball, floating out to this left-hand side to create some overloads. But Iraola's going to be absolutely delighted with his team start.
Remember, no Evan Nielsen as well from Bournemouth's forward line today. Tavernier with the corner. This is a short one that Bournemouth are going to try and work from that right-hand side. Eventually it is his delivery. It's off the chest of Gay, who sort of got down on his knees there to chest it away. And then Krupi almost picks it up again for Bournemouth on the edge of the box. It bounces off his right boot, loops up into the air and behind for a Crystal Palace goal kick. Palace 0, Bournemouth 1. Some early goals for you in League One. Bradford leading Barnsley by 1-0. Accrington Stanley, thanks to Paddy Madden, have gone 1-0 up against Swindon, as have Plymouth at home to AFC Wimbledon. But this is the only goal so far in the 3 o'clock Premier League games this afternoon here on 5 Live Sports Extra. And we'll have 2 more live Premier League games for you tomorrow as well, with Tottenham against Aston Villa from 2, and the small matter of Liverpool against Manchester United from 4:30 on 5 Live and via BBC Sounds on Sunday. Palace 0, Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth in possession. Bournemouth have had a lot of the ball in the first 10 minutes, and they carry it up to the halfway line where Krupi collects it. Was hoping, I think, the run was going to be made by Alex Jimenez, who had stopped and was looking for a different option. And Palace can start things again with goalkeeper Henderson from the back.
Yeah, you think Palace are under a lot of pressure here. They're trying to play out from the back. That Bournemouth's press so far has been absolutely spot on.
And that's Jimenez again stepping in to win it back for Bournemouth. This is Scott, the 1-2. Back to Scott, left-footed shot up and over the top of the crossbar. But just from the body language of Dean Henderson, even though it was 2 yards over the top of his crossbar in the end, I'm not sure that he knew exactly where that was going to end up.
No, it looked like it opened up brilliantly for Scott, and he struck it so well off his left foot, just outside the D of the 18-yard line. He must have missed the crossbar by 6 inches, and I think Henderson just hoped it was going over the crossbar. But I think, again, it shows Bournemouth's intensity with the way they're pressing and the numbers they're committing forward. They have 7 men almost inside Palace's 18-yard box there on the attack. So they've really come not to settle for anything other than 3 points here this afternoon.
Alex Scott in the Bournemouth midfield with the white hairband on, tying back that floppy hair. The 22-year-old midfielder who, I mean, Palace fans will be well aware of Alex Scott, mainly from what happened here last season, because, I mean, you may not recall, but Chris Richards was sent off. But in the first half, Alex Scott of Bournemouth, I think there was a lot of Palace fans who felt that he could have been dismissed as well, and I'm sure a lot of Eagles have not forgotten that, as he's playing here again today. The Palace ball into Bournemouth's box is caught by Petrovic, both his arms up above his head to make a comfortable claim.
Yeah, really confident start from Petrovic to come and take that under no real pressure in the end, but he's gathered it nicely, settles Bournemouth down, and again they try and take possession of the ball and play out from the back.
Diakité's had to lash that out of play under a bit of pressure. The French defender for Bournemouth had a play for a Palace throw, which is just inside Bournemouth's half, over on the far left-hand side to us. Palace going from left to right in the first half in the red and the blue striped shirts, blue shorts and blue socks. Actually, it's a Bournemouth throw, so Diakité's obviously cleared that out via a deflection. So Alex Jimenez, the Spanish under-21 international, is going to take the Bournemouth throw down that right-hand side. Another goal to tell you about in the Championship: Birmingham City 0, Hull 1. Jack Robinson has scored for the visitors at St Andrews. This is Gay up into the feet of Jeremy Pino, who is still looking for his first Crystal Palace goal since arriving from Villarreal. Now Daichi Kamada running across midfield, 20 yards inside Bournemouth territory, back on the halfway line with Lacroix and into the feet of Richards.
Yeah, it's the press from Bournemouth. Palace can't play around them, and Wharton's finding a little bit of space inside his own half, just outside the centre circle, and Lacroix's the one that has been left on the ball at the moment. Every single possession that they try and build has been covered by a pink Bournemouth shirt, and they play it out of the pitch on the far side again from Palace. But the pressure and the intensity that Bournemouth have started with, I mentioned it before, but it's been absolutely relentless inside this first 13 minutes.
And we always like to get into the shades of the colours of the shirt, but it is so salmon pink, isn't it? It couldn't be anything but salmon pink.
It's what I might have for dinner tonight, I think, Chris.
It feels like at the moment Bournemouth are the ones eating Crystal Palace alive here.
I love it, yeah, absolutely. And what a start they've had, and the goal was almost too easy. Palace have started okay, but there's no real zip to them. There's no real threat so far. I think the ones that they've probably caused the Bournemouth back four some issues is when Henderson's got it back and they've tried to play direct into Mateta. But the minute Bournemouth are committing so many bodies forward, they just can't play around them.
Yeah, 15 minutes in, Bournemouth leading 1-0. That goal from Junior Krupi after 7 minutes, but now Palace can charge with Kamada towards the edge of Bournemouth's penalty area. Kamada switched it to the right-hand side. Munoz on the edge of the box, into the penalty area for Sarr. His right-footed shot, well blocked, and Palace will keep it in play with Munoz on the right, but his back heel introduces possession back to Bournemouth into true fair, and then Richards comes over and chests it out of play in front of Kluivert for a Bournemouth throw on the near left-hand side.
Yeah, and to be honest, I've been talking about Bournemouth's start. That was the first time Palace had put some real zip into their passes. They've played through the lines, almost broken through Bournemouth's front five and got away with Kamada, who drove through the middle, got the ball wide, but the delivery wasn't quite on the money, and Bournemouth deal with it quite comfortably in the end.
Not scored Palace in any of their last 4 Premier League games against Bournemouth. As Kluivert lifts one into the box, Semenyo goes down. Richards certainly had hold of him. It's waved away by Jared Gillett. The ball's in the hands of Dean Henderson, and I guess, Luke Chambers, what the referee would have been assessing there is whether Semenyo was going to reach that ball.
I definitely think that's the only thing that's got Richards out of trouble there. I think he's got the wrong side. Semenyo's got through, and it's a great little disguised ball over the top from outside the box from Kluivert. He just dinks one over Richards' heads, and fortunately it's just rolling through with enough pace to Henderson that I think the referee gets the decision right. But if that's a little bit closer into Semenyo's path, there's certainly questions to be asked of the referee.
Yeah, and I was keeping an eye on Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth coach, down on the touchline, who is still rather animated in trying to explain to both referee Jared Gillett and the 4th official today, which is Simon Hooper, as to why he feels that he's got that decision wrong.
Yeah, he's pacing up and down his area now, and he feels hard done by, but I think he's no stranger to being animated on that touchline.
No, and we saw some really good scenes from Andoni Iraola and his backroom staff when Bournemouth won the game against Fulham just before the international break, having scored those 3 goals in the final 20 minutes to come from 1-0 down. Talking to teams that have gone 1-1, Colchester have equalised against Harrogate. Harry Anderson has scored, and still, as I understand it, this is the only game in the Premier League this afternoon from the 3 o'clock kickoffs that we've got a goal in. Manchester City against Everton is available to listen to right now on 5 Live. 1-0 Bournemouth lead here at Palace, 17 minutes played, and Chris Richards is going to take this Palace throw, which is going to launch in towards the near post of Bournemouth, and the flick on, which is claimed by Petrovic. It was difficult to see whether that came off a Palace head or a Bournemouth head on its way through. Yeah,
it was a tremendous throw with real pace and zip from Richards down this right-hand side, and Gay found himself just outside the 6-yard box, and I think it was him who got the flick on, but I think Palace had committed 3 or 4 bodies into that front post space, and they'd only had one player, I think it was Sarr, out the back post, and Petrovic again claims his 6-yard area and just plucks out the air and settles things down again for Bournemouth.
Not too surprised to hear that Mark Gay has told Palace he won't be signing a new deal with them. That news came out in the last 24 hours or so.
No, it's probably the most worst kept secret in football, and I think they did remarkably well to keep hold of him throughout the summer. Again, they're trying to build something here at Crystal Palace, and again with Glasner calling the shots, I think it certainly had a part to play, but it'll be interesting to see the developments of his role at Palace over the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, because Oliver Glasner's contract is up at the end of the season, as is Andoni Iraola's, by the way, the Bournemouth coach too, so there will be lots of eagle eyes assessing that situation as Munoz canters forward, tries to pass infield for Sarr, which was intercepted by Marcos Senesi with that jet black hair, the Argentinian, and the ball is back with Petrovic, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, and they're leading Crystal Palace 1-0.
Yeah, and you mentioned Senesi. He's had a fantastic start to the game. He's dealt with everything that Palace have thrown at him, but they've given the ball away here in the middle of their own half.
Yeah, that's Yeremy Pino tumbling, but again, Jared Gillett had a long look at that and decided there wasn't enough contact from Alex Jimenez on him to give away the free kick. And now Bournemouth are trying to power through the middle with Semenyo, but Lacroix had a bit of a head start on him. He's made the initial clearance. Munoz has had to slide to get it further away. Truffet delivers it back into the penalty area for Bournemouth, and the clearance is collected by Tyrick Mitchell for Crystal Palace as we move up to the 19th minute mark of this game at a packed Selhurst Park. I mean, we Luke, are right at the back of this particular stand in our commentary position, so we don't have a full view of the stadium, and unfortunately a couple of pillars also not helping in terms of obstructing the view here at Selhurst Park. But I mean, you can see that there isn't a spare seat in the house. No,
and it's the ticket everyone wants for Crystal Palace. They've been crying out for this sort of football, this sort of success for so long, and it's great to see every single seat taken in the house, because I've played here when it hasn't been quite like that at times as well. So to see the difference, to see everyone pulling in that same direction, and again, there's no real murmurings of discontent at the moment. They're 1-0 down at home, which is quite rare for Premier League football and any football in England at the moment.
Here's Guéhi with a delicate launch of the ball to Munoz on the right-hand side, tried to send it over the head of Truffet, who blocked it and then clears it over his own head for Bournemouth. Retrieved again by Lacroix on the halfway line. Here is Kamada with the number 18 on his back. Pino trying to turn it round the corner for Mateta. Diakite covering his ground, but he left his pass a bit short for Petrovic there, who was scampering slightly, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, to clear it.
Yeah, he'd almost left it too short, just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Petrovic covered the ground very quickly in between that 6-yard box and penalty spot, and came through, slid through, and Mateta's line of his attack just wasn't quite in front of him to block the clearance. And yeah, a little bit of a heart-in-mouth moment there for Bournemouth.
Something else for Mateta to chase. This should be a bit more routine for Petrovic. It is. He allows the ball to bounce into his box, the Serbian goalkeeper, the Serbian number 1 for his country, as he has been during these World Cup qualifiers. Serbia beaten rather surprisingly by Albania last week, as Munoz's cross for Palace from deep in Bournemouth's half is cleared away, and then the second clearance from Senesi wildly scuffed out of play with his left foot for a Palace throw on the right.
Yeah, I made a career out of that, shanking him out of play. So yeah, anything like that can happen. But what I did notice there, Senesi came across, sort of took the pace off the cross down this right hand side. Munoz done really well to get the block off and secure possession for Palace. But you notice Tyler Adams just filled in that spot in centre half, left side centre half, for his fellow centre back, and I think that's what Bournemouth have done so well. When teammates are out of position, each and every man's filling in where they need to.
There's no way, Luke Chambers, that you play 800 near-on EFL games and don't shank at least one or two out of play.
Regularly.
Here's Chris Richards with the Palace throw then, which again has got a bit of spin on it as he sends it into the penalty area. Truffet heads it clear for Bournemouth. This is Mitchell, who is 15 yards inside the half, and he's carrying on Mitchell. He's dancing through. He shoots left-footed, and Petrovic pushes it away. Both hands at it. Pino now for Palace. Pino clipping it in, looking for Lacroix, who stayed up there, the Palace centre half, and then Richards runs into Kluivert, who drops to the ground and gets Bournemouth the free kick.
Well, the home faithful are not happy with that decision. The only thing from our angle that it looked like was Kluivert just placed his right foot in front of Richards, and I think he just caught it as they both came to a halt down this side right in front of us. It's got everyone on the edge of their feet. But what we're talking about is Palace have really upped the tempo in the last 5 minutes. Mitchell's almost ran through the entire Bournemouth back four and midfield forward, got a great strike off, and Petrovic, so far as he has been, kept it out for them.
And he's been back amongst the goals as well lately. Tyrick Mitchell scored that winner for Crystal Palace at West Ham last month. But Bournemouth in front here, the goal 7 minutes in from Eli Junior Krupi, and here's Wharton, classy turn in midfield from him, away from Adams, with pace up towards Mateta. Good interception actually by Diakite, because Wharton almost got that spot on, and then Alex Scott is fouled, so it's going to be a Bournemouth free kick.
Yeah, definitely. The last 10 minutes it started to open up in terms of you have an attack, we have an attack, counter-attack after the next, and I think every time Bournemouth win it back now, they're trying to break quickly, which is leaving them, when they do give it away, lots of space throughout the middle. And again, both centre-backs are having to be called upon in Diakite and Senesi, and they're standing up to the task at the moment. But you keep looking at Mateta. When Palace win the ball back, he is free through on goal, so they've got to be careful that they make sure when they're in possession, they're locking that back door.
Yeah, Palace are definitely coming back into this game now. 24 minutes in at Selhurst Park. A goal for Burnley against Leeds in the Premier League. Former Chelsea midfielder Leslie Ugachukwu has got it, as Cliver tries to slip in Tavernier for Bournemouth. That was intercepted, and Kamada has it for Palace, and they just settle things down now with Mark Gay in Palace's back line. He gives it to Lacroix, and it's spread out to this right hand side for Munoz, just inside his own half. Luke Chambers.
Yeah, it's a lot better play, especially Munoz is getting himself further forward as Mateta tries to chase one down this right-hand side in front of us. But again, that man, Senesi, is there, sliding across just outside his 18-yard box in this channel, and they sniff out the danger. But I've noticed Munoz has started to play a lot higher for Palace to try and give them an outlet at the moment, because Truffert down this left-hand side for Bournemouth has had the freedom of Selhurst Park so far, because Ismail Sarr is playing so far inside the pitch that there's such a big area for him to come forward into.
Yeah, and got his first Premier League goal of the season 2 weeks ago. Daniel Munoz at Everton has frequently been involved in goals, either scoring them or assisting them, the Colombian, since his arrival at the club. What a pass that is for Bournemouth. Semenyo racing up on the left hand side, he's in the box, he's got it on his right foot, he's now back on his left, back on his right, shoots, and it's pushed away by Henderson, outstretched to his left hand side. Semenyo with a bit of wizardry again for Bournemouth. It nearly pays off. They're still trying to make inroads, Bournemouth, into Palace's back line here, but they are a little further outside the penalty area now, with Senesi out to the left again for Truffert, back into the feet of Senesi it goes, forward towards Semenyo. The ball bounced up, it actually hit Semenyo's hand. He's slightly irritated by the decision, but he's on a yellow card, so we can't say too much to Jared Gillett. Free kick Palace.
No, frustration, but the ball from Alex Scott from just inside his own half, he splits Palace's defence, gets it out to Semenyo, drives inside the area on the left hand side, cuts one way on his left, cuts back onto his right, and gets a fantastic shot off on his right hand side, which Henderson makes a great save. It's almost routine a little bit, but that's the threat that he carries. He's such an exciting player, and when he gets in those positions, he doesn't seem to disappoint. He doesn't go back, he takes people on. He turned Richards inside out there to get his shot off.
Played more than 75 minutes, Antoine Semenyo, in both of his country Ghana's recent games during the international break. Palace moving freely into Bournemouth's half with the slight frame of Yeremy Pino, who's 10 yards outside the box, right-footed. Mateta heads wide. Got up there, made good connections. Jean-Philippe Mateta tried to guide his header back across goal, and it ends up a yard or so wide of the right post of George Petrovic.
He has to score. He has to score. The tide's been turning, and Pino turns back inside, about 35 yards from goal on the far left side, cuts inside onto his right foot. Mateta pulls away off Senesi's back, probably 7 or 8 yards outside the back post, and gets up above Senesi, punches it back across the goal, and it has to find the far corner. He's got such a good connection on it. The way he's jumped and got over Senesi, has to score. And
now Sarr's running away from Senesi. He's got to the byline, Ismail Sarr, and covering, as he so often does so well, Tyler Adams, Bournemouth's American midfielder, to pop it behind for a corner.
Yeah, and that's the first time we've seen Ismail Sarr this afternoon really open his legs and get involved in the play, and Senesi's been fantastic in this opening 30 minutes, but he got away with him, his pace and power. He cuts inside the 18-yard box by the byline, almost gets a shot off. Thankfully, Tyler Adams again, what I mentioned before, once his centre-halves sort of get out of that middle of the pitch, he fills in for them, and that's what he's done there, blocking the cross and gives away a corner.
He became a dad as well during the international break for the first time, Tyler Adams, so congratulations to him. Was asked to be left out of the United States international squad so he could be with his partner. And here comes the Palace corner. There is a bit of pushing and shoving going on in the 6-yard box, which the referee wants to deal with first. Jean-Philippe Mateta is making his very muscular frame felt.
Yeah, he certainly looks a lot more muscular when he tucks that t-shirt in so tight to his shorts. he's such a big frame and he's very difficult to move, and it almost looks like they are pushing and pulling, but he's literally at the moment just standing in front of Petrovic.
And Tavernier next to him, the Bournemouth captain, with his sort of head slightly bowed, almost like he's nuzzling into Mateta's back to put him off in any way he can.
There's stuff going on in there, so we'll see how it develops.
Right, here comes the Palace corner. They're 1-0 down. Wharton swings it in, and Petrovic didn't know whether to come or not. Bournemouth get ahead on it. It's still inside the penalty area. Kluivert's managed to shake off the attention of Munoz to send it downfield and back into Crystal Palace's half, and Mitchell goes back to Henderson.
Yeah, great delivery from Wharton, just floated in. I think it almost reached just inside the front post, hung up brilliantly, so Bournemouth couldn't get any power away to get the header outside of their 18-yard box. It just floated up in the air, so a dangerous one for them to contend with, but again, they've held firm. There's no real panic at the moment from them. They seem to be in control regardless of Palace coming back into it.
Yeah, 1-0 the scoreline as we move towards the half hour. It's Bournemouth lead though at Crystal Palace. Palace 6th, Bournemouth 4th at the start of the day in the Premier League. Here's Kamada stretching things. Mitchell's cross, behind it goes. Palace are beginning to apply some pressure on Bournemouth now. Jimenez with the defensive work, the young right back to stick a leg out and divert it away.
Yeah, and again, that was the second time that they've played through Bournemouth's press, and Kamada gets a bit of space just inside Bournemouth's half, outside the centre circle, and drives forward, and then Palace are able to commit bodies forward then, and Mitchell gets down that left-hand side, and they've got 5 men in the box, but again, like you say, Jimenez cuts out that cross to the front post.
Yeah, so attacking the Holmesdale Road end, another Palace corner. Kamada, that had some speed on it as well. The deliveries actually from both teams in this first half have been excellent in terms of the pace into the box. Mitchell on the halfway line hasn't got anywhere to go for Palace, so it goes back to Henderson in all green, who plays it perfectly onto the feet of Kamada. Kamada's layoff, Pino tripped, free kick to Crystal Palace just outside the Bournemouth penalty area over on that left side.
Yeah, it's Tavernier and he's the captain, and you have to stand up in those areas. You can't be trying to win the ball off Pino. He's waiting for you to dive in, and that's exactly what he's done there. And you've just been talking about the quality of the delivery from set pieces that they've got, and Bournemouth there, and someone with the experience of Tavernier to give that one away, to give Palace a way back into this game with a free delivery into the box. For them to try and defend again is a cardinal sin, really.
1-0 Bournemouth. Palace free kick though, 3 yards outside the penalty area, right on the angle on the left side. Kamada with his arms down either side of him delivers right-footed for Palace. Lacroix at the far post, but he couldn't dismiss the attention of Antoine Semenyo, and it drifts over both of their heads and behind for a goal kick.
And I think that's why everyone speaks so highly of Antoine Semenyo. He doesn't just give you things going forward. There, he's got the responsibility of being the back marker in that defensive line, and with his frame and the size of him and the strength that he carries in a defensive area, to hold off Lacroix there at the back post was very, very impressive, and I think that's why he's trusted so much by Iriola to have that responsibility.
Newport 0, Cheltenham Town 1. Colchester have come from behind to lead Harrogate by 2-1. MK Dons are now 1-0 up against Crewe Alexandra. Barnsley have equalised against Bradford, so it's 1-1 there, and I did note that Birmingham City, yes, Birmingham have equalised against Hull. Jay Stansfield has scored in that one in the Championship. So you are right up to speed with everything that's happening this afternoon in the Premier League, where Nottingham Forest have sacked Ange Postecoglou. If you are just joining us, second shortest reign of any Premier League manager after their defeat at home to Chelsea today. Lost by 3-0. And it is Lacroix for Palace. Mateta, great win on the halfway line, got there with his head but couldn't quite nod it down the direction of Sarr, and Bournemouth go back to goalkeeper Petrovic. And still, Luke Chambers, it is that early goal, which was 2 yards out from Ellie Junior Krupi to give Bournemouth the lead here. Yeah,
and there's a great delivery in from Kluivert to find Semenyo at that front post. But Palace have certainly started fairly slow, but they've definitely been the best team over the last 20 minutes, and as we see Bournemouth again getting that high press onto Dean Henderson in that goal, he's just cleared one out to give the possession back to Bournemouth. But I think it's been an even first half. Yes, Bournemouth have got that goal and they deserved it, especially at the start they had, but Palace have certainly been the better side over these last 20 minutes. Yeah,
if Bournemouth were to win today, not only would they go to the top of the Premier League, it would also be their 100th Premier League win since their arrival in the top flight. This is game number 312 for them, and they would be the 24th club to reach that milestone. as Petrovic, the former Chelsea goalkeeper, in the green, crashes the ball forward. It's coming back the other way. Senesi has had to move over to the left-back area to stop it, and he's managed to clear the ball off the shins of the Palace man, and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how Palace are now approaching this game, and they've almost gone into a back four. You've got Richards coming out to right back, Munoz playing a lot higher up, and Ismail Sarr's joined Mateta in a front two, and he's playing a lot more narrow now. So I think that's been one of the reasons why Palace have been able to get back into this fixture as quickly as they have.
Oliver Glasner down there with the joggers on. They are very tight, aren't they? Those Oliver Glasner joggers. They're like the what do you call them? Like the thermal underlay almost, aren't they? They're that tight. They're the sort of ones that I might wear under my trousers on a cold winter's day, Luke.
Well, winter's just around the corner, so I wouldn't blame you if you did have them on. But listen, he can pull it off at the minute. The man can do no wrong.
Yeah, and he's down there at the moment, desperately trying to bark some instructions to his players. As are both coaches. Andoni Iraola's stepped out of his technical area here. Bournemouth free kick. They're leading 1-0. It's lofted up to Semenyo on the left-hand side. Hits Richards under pressure from Cliver, and goes out for a Bournemouth throw. 2/3 of the way inside Palace's half on the left. Bristol Rovers 0, Tranmere 1, Walsall 0, Barrow 1 in League 2. Antoine Semenyo with the ball in his hands to take this Bournemouth throw. Diakite, the centre-half, has gone forward, the £34 million signing from Lille, as Semenyo runs up, launches it in, and he really did launch it as well. The clearance is from Lacroix, and Truffert goes all the way back to his goalkeeper Petrovic, who is occupying a position outside of his penalty area, rolling the ball underneath his studs, George Petrovic, and then sends it back in the direction in which it was sent back to him, towards Semenyo, who loses it. Truffert collects it, and then Junior Krupi is muscled out of it, and Munoz looking to play it with the outside of his right boot for Sarr behind Senesi. Couldn't get the run on Senesi, and it's with Petrovic, the Bournemouth keeper, again. Yeah, and it's that same theme. Richards wins the ball back, Munoz breaks over the halfway line and then tries to play a through ball through to Ismail Sarr, and again we've mentioned Senesi multiple times in this first half, gets himself and his body in between the ball and the goalkeeper and Sarr, and is able to sort of shepherd it to safety and keep Bournemouth in control. They're not really troubling them too much, bar a couple of set pieces and one ball into Mateta from a Pinot cross. Match of the day, BBC One from 10:30 tonight, by the way. Gabby Logan's going to be joined by Alan Shearer and Micah Richards. We'll have more Champions League football for you live on 5 Live next week as well. And Tuesday we'll be at the Emirates for Arsenal against Atletico Madrid, and on Wednesday across the capital at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Ajax. This is a throw for Bournemouth, which Truffert takes. Did that hit Semenyo's hand? It did. It's going to be a Palace free kick, very far back, almost on the edge of their own penalty area here, Palace, and they've quickly given it back to Henderson, who didn't want that ball from Lacroix. Look at Henderson, he is giving an absolute mouthful to Maxence Lacroix for delivering a pass like that back to him, and now Lacroix's been hauled over, so Palace have a free kick, and Henderson's going to carry on his complaints to his centre-half.
Oh, he's certainly not happy, because Lacroix gets the ball inside his 18-yard box, doesn't really look as he turns to play back to Henderson, and Krupi's making his way to put pressure on Henderson's left-hand shoulder, and he's zipped it into him so he can't play it first time, and he's had to sort of scoop underneath the ball, and that's why he's so frustrated, because all it took was a little bit of consideration in the delivery back to him so he could smash it up to Mateta, and that's where the communication breaks down sometimes, because the care back to the goalkeeper wasn't there in any way, shape or form.
Luke Chambers with us on 5 Live this afternoon. Here is Semenyo. Richards tried to grab his shirt as he moves down the left-hand side. Semenyo keeps going. Semenyo's ball across the box. It's hit Gay, and then it's struck into the back of the net for a second goal, and a second goal as well for Ili Junior Krupi. What an afternoon Bournemouth are having, and what a day he's having. The young Frenchman's got 2 first half goals at Selhurst Park. That one is eked underneath Dean Henderson, and Bournemouth, what a season, what a day. Maybe right now dreaming of being at the very top of the Premier League, because they're 2-0 up at Palace in the first half.
It's that man again. Antoine Semenyo steps over the halfway line, and it's not a great cross, and Gahey can't sort his feet out to clear the ball, and it's Krupi who's made up the distance from the halfway line to the edge of the 18-yard box, just inside, and the ball comes back out from Semenyo's cross off his left-hand side, off Gahey, just bounces. It doesn't even bounce. It's Krupi takes it fully on the volley just inside the 18-yard box and absolutely buries it. The connection's fantastic. Henderson gets a slight left hand to it down in that bottom corner, but he can't keep it out. And it's the way Palace have succumbed to the pressure and the pace and the power of Bournemouth on the break that they find themselves 2-0 down.
And how interesting, Luke, as well, that there were probably concerns in the Bournemouth camp about not having Evan Nielsen available today because of injury. And Ellie Junior Krupi, who wouldn't have started this game had it not been for that injury to Evan Nielsen, is the player who has got both the Bournemouth goals at Selhurst Park.
And if that doesn't tell you about football and why you always need to stay ready, and you never feel like you're out of it, you have these opportunities that arise when you least expect them, and he's taken it with both hands, and the energy he's had so far in this first half has been remarkable. But the way he's finished that on the volley, for someone so young, not played so many games for Bournemouth, it was a fantastic strike.
Taken like a player who was feeling full of confidence, having scored one Premier League goal already this afternoon. That's 3 for the season for him, having scored at Ellen Road a few weeks ago. A yellow card for Marcos Senesi for kicking the ball away, Bournemouth defender, after conceding the foul on the halfway line.
Yeah, it's a bit of a silly one. There's no need for him to do that, especially going 2-0 up. But you mentioned Krupi and the confidence he's had. The first goal he scores, you're never going to score an easier goal in the Premier League with that header literally almost going over the line itself. But that one, the technique and the composure for him to hit it when he's running at full speed was brilliant.
Sarr trying to turn it away from Tyler Adams, picked up by Wharton 30 yards out. Wharton left-footed, looking for Tyreek Mitchell, has overcooked it, the young England midfielder, and it's out for a goal kick. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Very, very rare that Crystal Palace find themselves in this position, 2-0 down, and 2-0 down at home to Bournemouth.
No, I think there's a little bit of shell shock around Selhurst, but I think they're still behind their team. There's still lots of noise coming from the faithful. It's just going to be one of them. They've just got to get into half time now. Can they get something back before the whistle goes? But at the minute, just staying calm. You see Wharton there just outside Bournemouth's 18-yard box, delivers a one to the back post where he'd usually be on the money, overhits it. You can see the frustration he's got with himself, so it's just about regrouping now and sticking together between now and half-time and not getting too disheartened, because we've seen this Palace side score goals and they'll have to do that come the second half.
Stoke City, who are having a really good season in the Championship, have gone 1-0 up against Wrexham thanks to Sorba Thomas's goal, and Reading have scored at Cardiff in League One through Lewis Wing. This is Sarr. Again, a chase that he is not going to be successful in. The pass has too much on it as it bounces out of play on this near side, so Bournemouth's left back area. And obviously there's no rush from Trufair to take the throw either. Luton 0, Mansfield 1 is another latest score for you from League One. MK Dons have doubled their league against Crewe Alexandra. Alex Gilby has got the second goal, and the first goal of the afternoon at the Amex has been scored by Danny Welbeck for Brighton, who are 1-0 up against Newcastle United. Remember, we've got Manchester City against Everton, which is still goalless over on 5 Live right now. Fulham Arsenal to come from 5:30 with Alistair Bruce Ball and former Southampton defender Franny Benali. And then Spurs Villa and Liverpool Manchester United, both available for you tomorrow on 5 Live and via BBC Sounds. 3 minutes of the first half to play here. The ball in the hands of Petrovic, the Bournemouth goalkeeper, and his team, as Scott is tripped, have a 2-0 lead, and they are going to go above Spurs and Liverpool, and crucially the leaders Arsenal, into first place in the Premier League unless Palace can rectify this situation.
Yeah, and the way they've approached the game, with the calmness as well when they've been put under pressure by Palace after taking the lead so early on. Mateta should score his chance, but he didn't, and that's the only time they've really been stretched in this first 45 minutes, and they've been well worth their 2-goal lead. I think the way they've attacked, the way they've played, the way they've broke forward has been very, very impressive.
So can Palace find a way back before half-time? 2-0 down, they've got a throw on this right-hand side, which Richards takes into the box. It isn't reached by Munoz, and it's cleared away for Bournemouth, upfield by Tyler Adams. Mitchell is there for Palace, the left-back, and he goes back to Dean Henderson, who I'm guessing, Luke Chambers, you don't feel will warrant any criticism for that second goal. Did it just come at him too quickly, the goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think he did well to get a hand on it. Wasn't right in the corner, the bottom corner, but I think the way he reacted, and again, when anything comes on a volley, it's very difficult to read it and keep it out.
Here's Mitchell on the left side of Bournemouth's penalty area for Palace, but good defending again from Jimenez, who has already some really good experience under his belt from his time with AC Milan in Italy. But Kamada's got it back again for Palace. 2-0 down. We're in the final 90 seconds of this first half at Selhurst Park here on 5 Live Sports Extra and on BBC Sounds. Lecroix spreading the ball out to the left-hand side. Palace are trying to unpick Bournemouth, but without a great deal of success at the moment, as Mitchell comes back in field for Kamada with his right foot, a head height clearance for Senesi, and then Lecroix and Kluivert come together, and Bournemouth try and break on Palace again, but just as Junior Krupi attempted to send the ball over the top, it was blocked, it came back to him, and he's prodded it out of play for a Palace throw.
Yeah, and you look at the clock now and it's 44 minutes. Palace had controlled possession in Bournemouth's half. 30 yards from goal were 11 Bournemouth players. So once you have a lead like that in the Premier League and you have 11 men behind the ball within 30 yards of your goal, you're going to be very, very difficult to break down.
Here is Mateta, who will want to make his presence felt in this game. Crystal Palace's forward with his 2 Premier League goals this season, but 4 in all competitions. Him and Sarr at the top of the goal scoring charts in all comps, as Diakite covering his ground again. Looks a very smooth defender, doesn't he, Bafode Diakite?
Oh, I've been really impressed by both Diakite and Senesi at centre-half for Bournemouth today, and even this man on the ball now down this side closest to us, Truffert, left-footed full-back, driven forward, used the ball brilliantly. And I think this is where they've caused the damage on this left-hand side so far in this first 45.
Yeah, Antonio Ayala was talking about Adrian Truffert recently, saying he's been brilliant in the first few weeks of the season, but the challenge for him is to keep that up now. Here's Kamada. We're into 2 minutes of stoppage time. Palace have got the ball in Bournemouth's box. They've got it with Sarr. Sarr's right-footed cross. Truffert lunges at the ball to head it away. That was a brave clearance as well, with Munoz close to him. And it's back to Truffert from Semenyo, and now with his left foot, Truffert, well, I thought he was going to clear with his left, but actually he's chopped it back onto his right. He's played a little 1-2 with Tyler Adams, and he's overplayed it, Truffert, and Adams steps in to try and help him out, but the ball's gone out of play for a Palace throw.
No, I just think that shows you how much confidence Bournemouth are playing with, and that man Truffert that we mentioned. But again, it's one of them, it's a balance between playing with confidence and overconfidence, and there, when he should have cleared it probably 2 or 3 times, he's tried to overplay, which gives Palace the opportunity to take this long throw now and put Bournemouth under pressure. Blackpool
1, Wickham 0. Saw Steve Bruce depart Blackpool a couple of weeks ago as Richards sends in the cross. It's another composed piece of Bournemouth defending from Senesi. Back to Richards again. Chris Richards, the American, up towards that far post. The nod down looking for Gay, but in the way was Jimenez for Bournemouth, and then Gay, and then Sarr, and on for Mateta. It's Mateta, and Petrovic with his left leg, hooks it out of play for a corner. I'm not sure whether Mateta, Luke, fully got hold of his shot there.
Well, it didn't seem like it, but the way the chance comes about is there's a long ball forward from Adams clearing his lines, and Mitchell comes through the header. Mark Gahey then does a bicycle kick, slips it down just outside the 6-yard box from Mateta, but his strike is no way near enough power to get back in the game.
Palace corner from the left, another excellent clearance, that time by Alex Scott, who was brave enough to throw his head at the ball, back on the halfway line with Henderson. But that is the end of the first half, and the scoreline is Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 2. Both the goals from Eli Junior Krupi, the first 7 minutes in with a header from no more than a couple of yards out. The second, a well-taken snapshot on the half volley, which was just too swift for Dean Henderson in the Palace goal. And though Palace have knocked at the door, Luke Chambers, Bournemouth 2-0 up and ultimately warrant their lead.
Yeah, definitely, but it shows you how quickly things can turn. Mateta there, last knock into the first half. For me, again, another chance that he has to really take if Palace are going to have any chance of getting back into this game. But Bournemouth have been absolutely brilliant from moment one. The pressure they've put on Crystal Palace, and especially their back four, the pace they've broke with when they've won possession back, and just the quality they've had on that turnover. The finish from Krupi for the second goal was absolutely fantastic.
And we mentioned the fact that he's in the team because Evan Nielsen is injured. He's been trusted to run that forward line. He's a different sort of player to Evan Nielsen, who is a disruptor. His hold-up play is excellent, but ultimately Evan Nielsen is there primarily to open up spaces for others. But Eli Junior Krupi isn't that sort of player, but actually it's paid for them today to have someone like him on the pitch.
Absolutely, he's played in a totally different position as well. He's almost played like an inside right. He's played off Mark Gahey, who's played left side centre back, and he's just occupying that position where it's very difficult to mark. He hasn't played as an out-and-out front man. I think Kluivert's done that a little bit more, but even him, he's drifted out onto this left-hand side. And I think where Bournemouth have really capitalised is having Semenyo out on the left, you've had Truffert on the left, and almost Kluivert as well, so they're outnumbering, and Palace are leaving 3 centre-backs with nothing really to do inside that 18-yard box, and I think that's why they've been able to get pace and dominate possession, and Crystal Palace haven't really had an answer to that today.
Yeah, a lot of work for Oliver Glasner's side to do in the second half to prevent Bournemouth from leaving Selhurst Park with all 3 points. A couple of late goals to tell you about elsewhere in the EFL. Colchester have gone 3-1 up against Harrogate, another one for Harry Anderson. AFC Wimbledon have equalised at Plymouth, and Charlton are now 2-0 up against Sheffield Wednesday. Reece Burke has scored for the Addicts right on the stroke of half-time. You can get reaction to everything that's happened in the Premier League and the EFL right now. Stay with us here on 5 Live Sports Extra. We're going to take you over to 5 Live, to Mark Chapman and the team, to get the stories of the first half. But without doubt, the tale in the Premier League right now is AFC Bournemouth, because as it stands, they are top of them all. Half-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 2.
Next, it's been all Sunderland as well. Wolves have offered very little up front. In fact, Sunderland should be well out of sight. They've had one offside from Isidore, and also Dan Ballard has just had a head on the end of a corner. It was caught though by Johnston at the last second. Wolves really struggling. It's Sunderland 1, Wolves 0.
Get details of that Bradford goal in League One, Naz.
Yes, Bradford 2, Barnsley 1. The half-time whistle's just gone. Free kick into the box, and Stephen Humphreys with a clever back heel past the Barnsley goalkeeper. It is half-time, and it is Bradford City 2, Barnsley 1.
Half-time at Brighton, where the home side lead 1-0 against Newcastle. Chris Coles.
Thanks to Danny Welbeck's goal late in the half, made by a perfect route-air pass, coaxed Pope off his line. Welbeck saw him coming, little dink over the top, lovely finish, and deserved for Brighton, who have been the more eye-catching. Newcastle lacking a creative spark, their best chance right at the death. A free kick from Tonali, headed over by Voltemada. Brighton 1, Newcastle 0.
Last night in the Championship, Middlesbrough beat Ipswich 2-1. This lunchtime, Oxford 1, Derby 0, QPR 1, Millwall 2, Southampton 0, Swansea 0. Borough's win last night means Coventry need to win at home to Blackburn to go back to the top of the table. They aren't doing at the moment. Pat Murphy.
No, it's 0-0. 3 close calls in Blackburn's penalty area in the first 5 minutes. We awaited the goal fest. It didn't happen. Blackburn got into the game, especially down the flanks. Rushworth saved brilliantly, while Avag's crucial header denied the away side a goal. Coventry 0, Blackburn 0.
West Brom have struggled at home this season, going well so far though. John Akers.
They are going well. West Brom 1, Preston 0. They deserve it on the balance of play and the amounts of effort at goal, and what an effort at goal from the Irishman Mikey Johnston, who strike separates the two sides. 25 yards out, curling shot outside of the foot, beats the keeper at the near post. It was brilliant. It's West Brom 1, Preston 0.
Liam Manning's Norwich take on his former club Bristol City this afternoon. Mark Webber.
Norwich City 0, Bristol City 0. A frustrating 45 for two teams with flailing form. Bristol City closest when Neto Borg hit the post with a curler through a crowded area. Norwich are just too reliant on Josh Sargent. Only showed promise when he had the ball, and a couple of shots easily contained by the keeper. Liam Manning will probably be happy with a point. Norwich City 0, Bristol City 0.
Bottom of the table, Sheffield United at home to Watford. Mike Maine.
0-0 at the moment, again in the point. They are the better side as well. Sheffield United, McCallum's dipping volley. McGuinness and Tanganga have both had headers safe from a corner as well. And just a quick one with all the talk about Forest, it might have been forgotten. Javi Grazia's back in the dugout at Watford, his first game in charge, an 18th permanent Hornets appointment in the last decade, yet to create anything better than half a chance though. Sheffield United 0, Watford 0.
Stoke lead Wrexham at the break. Betty Glover.
Yes, Stoke go into the break the happier side by a long shot, thanks to that Sorba Thomas goal, one that Wrexham boss Phil Parkinson will be so disappointed with. Thomas whipped the ball into the area, it eluded absolutely everybody and bounced into the back of the net. Wrexham have had their fair share of chances though, Longman going agonisingly wide. They should have had had the opener, but it is Stoke 1, Wrexham 0.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Birmingham 1, Hull 2 at the break. Told you about the goal that put Hull ahead in first half stoppage time. Earlier, a Jack Robinson own goal had given them a 1-0 lead. Jay Stansfield's 5th of the season, equalising for Chris Davies' side. Charlton leads Sheffield Wednesday by 2-0. Sonny Carey with his 3rd of the season, and Reece Burke in first half stoppage time getting the goals there for Nathan Jones' side. Earlier in League 1, Burton 0, Peterborough 1, Lincoln 1, Stevenage 0. We've heard from Valley Parade where Bradford lead Barnsley by 2-1 at the break. Nikesh Raghani's watching Jack Wilshire's first game in charge of Luton.
And at half-time, it's Luton 0, Mansfield 1. Wilshire's first half in charge could and should have been so much better for the home side. After a nervy start, they created several really good chances. Jordan Clark hit the post. Naki Wells had a penalty saved. And then just before half-time, completely against the run of play, Mansfield took the lead after a wonderful left-footed curler from Rhys Oates on the edge of the area, finding the top corner. Mansfield could have had another, but with Will Evans shot just over from close range in stoppage time. At half-time, it's Luton 0, Mansfield 1.
Elsewhere in League 1, Peterborough's win earlier dropped Blackpool to the bottom of the table, but they lead at the break 1-0 against Wickham. Ashley Fletcher's 3rd of the season. The difference between the two sides might be a surprise at Cardiff this afternoon. Reading haven't won away in the league this season, but they lead at the break by 1-0. Lewis Wing got it, 3 for the season for him. Doncaster have lost 4 of 5 in the league, but they lead at the break as well, 1-0 against Northampton. Lauren Tollage's 7th of the season put Plymouth ahead at home to AFC Wimbledon. The visitors equalised on the stroke of half-time. It's goalless between Rotherham and Leyton Orient. Stockport lead Exeter by 1-0. Nathan Lowe's 5th of the season, although they're still playing at Edgeley Park in the first half, and it's Wigan 0, Port Vale 0, and Wigan are down to 10. In League 2 earlier, Cambridge 2, Bromley 1, Salford 1, Oldham 0. At 3 o'clock, we're at Blundell Park for Grimsby against Gillingham. Charlie Slater.
Where it's 0-0, but Gillingham are down to 10 and have been from the 33rd minute when Romeo Hutton was sent off after becoming entangled with a Grimsby striker. He was the last man. To be honest, I'm not even sure it was a free kick, but the moment that the referee blew his whistle, he left himself no choice. Red card, silly really. Very good game though, just lacks a goal. Grimsby 0, Gillingham 0.
Swindon in second are also down to 10 at Accrington, and they trail by 1-0. Paddy Madden got the goal there. It's Barnet 0, Notts County 0. Bristol Rovers 0, Tranmere 1. Tranmere haven't won in their last 7 in the league, but they lead at the break. Chesterfield 1, Fleetwood 1. Colchester are 3-1 up at home to Harrogate. They did trail by 1-0, but Harry Anderson has hit a hat-trick there for Danny Cowley's side. They're 3-1 up at the break. MK Dons going for their 4th straight win in the league, a 2-0 up at home to Crewe. Alex Gilby got the 2nd, 5 for the season for him. In the battle between the bottom 2, it's going the way of Cheltenham at the moment. Newport 0, Cheltenham 1. Goalless between Shrewsbury and Crawley, and the leaders Walsall, unbeaten in 8, trail at the break at home to Barrow. Walsall 0, Barrow 1. In the National League earlier, Solihull Moors 2, Braintree 0. At 3 o'clock, all of these half-time. Aldershot 1, Tamworth 1. Altrincham 1, Woking 2. Borehamwood 0, Eastleigh 0. Also goalless between Boston and Scunthorpe, and Brackley Town and Gateshead, although Brackley Town are down to 10 in that. Southend are 2-0 up at Morecambe. Rochdale 3-0 up at home to Yeovil. Truro and FC Halifax are goalless, and it's York 2, Wealdstone 0. Into the Scottish Premiership. What is this, Ailey Barber? Rangers lead at half-time at Ibrox.
They do indeed, and it has been their most fluid performance certainly in the league this season. They have completely dominated, and they took the lead through Telo Asgard's first goal since arriving in Glasgow. Lovely bit of footwork and an unstoppable finish. He's also been denied twice by really strong saves. There are still vulnerabilities with Rangers in the transition, but United's quality on the ball just has been so poor to even try to exploit it. Rangers, they have been so comfortable. They really should be further ahead, but at the break it is much the delight of the supporters here at Ibrox. Rangers 1, Dundee United 0.
Hibs lead Livingston by 1-0. Motherwell are 1-0 up on Falkirk. It's goalless between St Mirren and bottom of the table Aberdeen. Kilmarnock Hearts gets underway at 5:45. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, St Johnstone 1, Ayr 1, Morton 0. Partick against Ross County, and Queen's Park and Airdrieonians are both goalless. Alloa and East Fife as we go into League 1, that's goalless, as is Cove Rangers and Stenhouse Muir. Inverness 1, Kelty Hearts 2, and Montrose 0, Hamilton 1. In Scottish League 2, Annan 1, Stirling 2, Dumbarton 1, Spartans 2, East Kilbride 3, Elgin 0, Edinburgh City 1, Stranraer 2, and Forfar 0, Clyde 0. Both games of cricket today ruined by the weather. England's men against New Zealand in the T20, that was abandoned. New Zealand and Pakistan in the Women's World Cup. Pakistan 92 for 5 when the rain came there. Back to the City Ground. Big story of the day in the Premier League. Ange Postecoglou sacked 21 minutes after the final whistle went, after they were beaten 3-0 at home by Chelsea. Lee Blakeman still in the tunnel.
And what it's been like down here since the game ended, Mark, I've just never seen anything like it in nearly 15 years of covering football for the BBC. I'm still just a metre outside the home team changing room. I finished with you at full time, came down the stand, made my way to the tunnel. As I arrived, another broadcaster just mouthed to me, he's been sacked. The statement dropped at the same time on the club's social media channels, and then down here it was just frantic activity. Ange Postecoglou was seen leaving the dressing room area. Media team were just on their phones and trying to just cobble something together. The players were led out of the dressing room to attend a meeting with representatives from the club's board. Media people were asking if we were going to get anybody to speak to, and there were just glum expressions on the faces of anybody who was wearing a Nottingham Forest badge. It was a mix of confusion for ages, but after waiting for about an hour, Forest's Ryan Yates did come to speak to us and told us what it's been like since the game ended.
I'll be honest, Ange came in after the game, debriefed the game, and then I went out to do some running, come back, and obviously the news had broke that he'd gone. Everybody has to take responsibility. I think it'd be unfair to pin on anybody, and I think we have to look at ourselves in the mirror firstly and dust ourselves down and go again, because things in football can change really quickly, and that's what we're going to be thinking about.
Are you saying, as a group of players, as a collective, this is on you, Ryan?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying partly we're to blame with the guys going out on the pitch trying to get results. But at the end of the day, like I just said, football changes really quickly, and with a good result Thursday night, we can get that feel-good factor back and kick on.
If the manager hears you, what would you like to say to him?
I've got nothing to say right now.
It's just a tough time, as a group.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you shouldn't be surprised by anything, should you really? But Postecoglou came in, debriefed the players. Ryan Yates went out for a run, came back in and found out his manager had been sacked.
That is exactly how it played out. And do you know what? To add to the respect for Ryan Yates, you just heard him there speaking to me. I think I was 8th in line. There were numerous media who wanted to speak to anybody connected to Nottingham Forest, and he did every single one of those interviews, having not been in there when the decision was made. Obviously he went out to warm down. Ange Postecoglou was just seen leaving with his backpack on, and that was it. The statement came about 5 or 6 minutes later. Forest players, led by Yates actually, Mark, were then taken somewhere else in the stadium to do a debrief and a meeting with representatives from the board. Then he came out and did every single one of those global TV and media interviews.
Thank you very much, Lee. Match of the day, 10:30 tonight on BBC One. We'll have more reaction during Sports Report from 5 o'clock. Half-time in the Prem Rugby, Leicester 12, Bath 17 in the United Rugby Championship. Earlier, Lions 29.
Welcome back to Selhurst Park. We'll leave our coverage on 5 Live there for now, but obviously you can continue listening to the second half of Manchester City against Everton over on 5 Live. But we are here with your second offering of Premier League live football today. At Selhurst Park, with the scoreline at the break: Crystal Palace 0, Bournemouth 2, and both the goals from Elie Junior Krupi, the young French forward in his first Bournemouth start, making quite the impact this afternoon. Chris Wise and the former Ipswich and Nottingham Forest and Northampton and Colchester, is that right? Luke Chambers, have I got them all?
You've got them all, yep. Only 4.
Yeah, just the 4, but just the near on 900 career appearances for you. Will Palace be tweaking things at half-time? Will Oliver Glasner be thinking, what subtle changes can I make if he's not doing a deep dive into his subs bench?
Yeah, I think he trusts his team enough to know that, listen, one swallow doesn't make a summer, and we can't make too much out of a disappointing 45 minutes, because they had their spells, they had their chances. They haven't been as ruthless as Bournemouth. That's as sort of matter of fact as it's been. I think there's not been masses wrong. So he's going to give his team the opportunity to get themselves back into this game, probably in the next 10-15 minutes. But if that doesn't happen, we know that he's going to make changes, and I think there might be a few things we spoke about in the first half that he could change, in terms maybe switch that back 3 to a back 4 to just allow them to free up an extra body, especially in midfield. But it will remain to be seen, because I'm not certainly one that's going to tell Oliver Glasner what to do.
Right, we're underway in the second half. Bournemouth are getting us started, going left to right in that salmon pink that we were talking about in the first half, and immediately they've tried to send the ball up to the edge of Palace's penalty area, which Richards has kept his eye on well, the Palace defender. And then Mateta's going to go in for a meaty challenge on the halfway line with Senesi, who just about won the battle, and Bournemouth bring it away on the left-hand side with Truffert and this 2-0 lead that they have at Selhurst Park. Elsewhere in the Premier League, earlier today, Chelsea 3-0 winners at Nottingham Forest, Brighton 1-0 up against Newcastle at half-time, Burnley leading Leeds by a goal to nil, and it is Sunderland 1, Wolves 0. Wolves still without a win in the Premier League so far this season. The only goalless game in the Premier League right now is that one at the Etihad between Manchester City and Everton. Here is Alex Jimenez for Bournemouth in towards the feet of Marcus Tavernier with some white bandage tightly wrapped around that left wrist as he clips it out to the left-hand side for Truffert, who is making tracks now into Palace's half, tries to slip it through, got the luck of the bounce off Richards, came back to him, deviates off Lecroix, and now Junior Krupi inside the box looking to play the 1-2. Semenyo's got it now. Semenyo, he's trying to muscle his way past 2. He nearly got past 3, Semenyo, and eventually the whole Bournemouth attack halted by an offside flag, and it's going to be a Crystal Palace free kick.
Yeah, I'm not sure where there was an offside in that, because it looked like Semenyo picked the ball up just outside the 18-yard box down towards the corner flag, and he's drove inside past 3 or 4 people. Too easy, really, and he's used his feet. And Palace, fortunately, they get themselves sorted out and can clear the ball and relieved by that offside flag. But again, quite a bright start from Bournemouth, as it was in the first half.
Yeah, and that's what's handed them this 2-0 lead that, as it stands, is taking them on to 17 points in the Premier League, 5 wins from their first 8 games, and still unbeaten since they lost to Liverpool on that opening Friday night game at Anfield. And I think there's some that felt they were a little unfortunate even that night, as Gay intercepts a Bournemouth potential counter-attack. Here is Adam Wharton, is Gay now, who has been in the England squad of late, but of course Adam Wharton's yet to be in a Thomas Tuchel England squad, with that one cap that he got under Gareth Southgate back in June 2024. You'd imagine we might see him in there again soon. Here comes Pino for Palace from the left, the Spaniard with Mitchell up in support on the left hand side. He's found Mitchell drives it across first time, the ball cleared away only as far as Wharton shoots, the deflection on the effort, which takes it a long way from goal. Out to the left-hand side, it's spinning slightly, and Mitchell keeps it in play for Palace. They're 2-0 down, and Mitchell's now won them the throw.
Yeah, and it was almost like a carbon copy of Bournemouth's second goal, where broke down this left-hand side close to us through Mitchell, and he drives one across, and it's blocked. I think it was by Diakite, and it just rolls out towards the penalty spot, but there's no one there following it up. In Bournemouth's case, there was, and I think that's the difference at the minute. Palace aren't quite believing and committing as many bodies forward as they probably should be doing at this early stage in the second half.
Chris Richards is changing the ball. He's gone and picked one up off one of those little white plinths by the side of the pitch before taking this latest Crystal Palace throw. Really effective team, Crystal Palace, from set pieces and long throws. In comes Richards' delivery in towards that near post off the head of Diakite. Munoz, he's 40 yards out with his right foot. He shifted it back into the box. There was a bit of indecision in that Bournemouth defence, and between a combination of fortune and maybe intent, it's gone behind for a Bournemouth goal kick.
Well, certainly as a fellow centre-half, I'll be claiming I had it all under control, but I think Senesi and Adams came together looking at the ball, both of them, no real shout on it, and they come together, and I think that puts off any Palace attacker. I think especially Mateta, and it just drops over the heads by the 6-yard box and filters out for a goal kick. So one they've sort of got away with there.
Yeah, and Palace, who come again here. Mateta, he's going to hit it. He's hit it left-footed from outside the box. It's a long way over the top of the crossbar, and you could almost see the cogs whirring there as Jean-Philippe Mateta. He wanted to get the shot away. The ball felt like it maybe was a smidge too far ahead of him, but he had a lash at it anyway.
Yeah, that's first real time Petrovic has gone long from a goal kick, and it sort of counted against them because the ball came back into the middle of the half and he turned with it. It bounced 4 or 5 times. He couldn't quite get on top of it to take it at the right time, and it looked like he was delaying it forever. And I just feel there's a little bit about Mateta today where he's a little bit off it in terms of his sharpness and his reaction speed. Just looks like he may have a potential hangover from that international break so far.
And what a significant international break it was for Jean-Philippe Mateta, getting not only his French debut but his first France goal as well. Pino trying to slip Mateta in there, intercepted back with Wharton 20 yards outside the box. Munoz cross from the right is hit true fair but not on the hand. Palace come again, Wharton drives it all the way across towards Mateta, who had a swing at it, and Bournemouth managed to eke it away, but only just. I don't know how close Jean-Philippe Mateta was there to making clean connections on that.
I think it's an absolute sitter that he's missed. I think he's mistimed it, and I mentioned it just seems a little bit off it today. He's had a couple of chances where he definitely should have done better, and it's the ball in from Wharton, who finds himself just on the sort of edge and the corner of the 18-yard box on the far side, delivers a right-footed cross which goes in behind Bournemouth's back four. Almost needs a solid right foot finish inside the 6-yard box for Mateta, and he's almost missed the ball, and it just bounces away to safety. It's a real opportunity. We'll have to see it back, but it looked like a chance.
And here come Palace again with Sarr. Sarr's got away from Senesi. Senesi's tripped him. Sarr has rolled twice and 3 times, and Senesi is going to be booked for that challenge. And that is a big, big call from Jared Gillett, because was Ismaila Sarr in on goal there? And did Senesi know it? There are big questions that need to be asked.
I think the initial tackle from Senesi, he tries to win the ball, misjudged it, and it's his following leg that catches Sarr. But I think the question is asking, the touch is through towards the goal, he's going to just about to pick it up on the 18-yard box and go through and get his shot off. And I don't think Diakite would have been able to cover that distance to close out the danger. So a real big call, and you can understand the frustrations. You've got Glasner in the fourth official's ear at the moment in front of us, not happy at all with that chance for them to potentially get Bournemouth down to 10 men.
We're having another replay of this here. I mean, Sarr he's not going away from goal as such, but the ball is sort of moving towards the right-hand edge of the penalty area rather than into the box. The one thing you would say is that Senesi, I would argue, but you tell me as a centre-half, I think Senesi knows he's not going to get that ball, and they are reviewing this now.
Yeah, and I think the review needs to happen, because even looking as he takes the touch and goes past Senesi and enters the 18-yard box, Mateta's just marked by Diakite, so it would have been a 2v1. They're both through on goal, and I think it is the trailing leg that brings him down. And whether he knows what he's doing or not, I'm not too sure. But the question is being asked, and it's a long review here on the VAR, one that Crystal Palace look very, very disappointed if it doesn't go their way on that red card. Today's VAR is Alex Chilovitz, who will be reviewing that footage right now. The cameras inside the stadium are honed in on Jared Gillett, who is being told to go to the screen to have a look at this himself. And Marcos Senesi turns his head away, he's got his hands on his hips, and suddenly the Argentinian defender is feeling some nerves about what might be coming. Yeah, I think he knew at the time that the question's going to be asked, but it's not a straightforward one. In my opinion, it's not a straightforward one. The ball isn't going towards goal, it is, like you say, going slightly away, and it's just, I think it's just the challenge where he connects with his ankle on the follow-through. The ball's sort of 5-10 yards away almost, and I think that's what he's potentially going to be looking at, that contact there, and then the space of how much time and space he would have had to go and get that chance off. Interestingly enough, Dean Henderson, the Palace goalkeeper, has gone and stood behind referee Jared Gillett. He's not saying anything to him, but I think he wants to have a look at the footage himself, because obviously he was right down at the other end of the pitch, and he's still reviewing multiple replays of this Jared Gillett on one of those tiny little monitors in front of the Arthur Waite stand, and there are supporters right behind those screens, so they will be doing all they can, I'm sure, to try and influence the referee, but they can't see a thing, and all the eyes are on Jared Gillett, who is asking to see this again and again and again. And like I say, there's an element of doubt in my mind whether it's a clear red card, whether it's the right decision from the referee or not, and he's taking every single second that he needs to, that he feels to make the right decision, but it's certainly not one that I'd want to be making. It's lots of pressure on him now. I think the outcome of the game is going to hang on this decision and which way he goes, which he's going to make now. Now, I think we're going to hear this, potentially. We should be able to hear what Jared Gillett's going to say, so I'll try and turn the effects mic up so you can pick this up.
After review, the original decision of yellow card to number 5 stands. The player
So you may well have heard that, but the yellow card given to Marcos Senesi remains. He has decided not to change his call here, Jared Gillett, and there were, as you would have picked up, loud boos from the Crystal Palace home supporters.
Well, I think a lot of that will be because they're 2-0 down and they're sort of begging for a chance to get back into this game. And to be brutally honest, I do feel that is probably the most sensible decision. For what was covering, Diakite was covering, yes, he was outnumbered, but it wasn't a clear-cut chance that he's going to go through and score. So, first time I've really seen live a VAR call go and the referee stand with his original decision, so fair play to him.
And that wasn't an easy one either for Jared Gillett, but I'm sure there'll be great discussion over that in the post-match interviews with Oliver Glasner and Andoni Iraola. 2-0 the score, still a Palace free kick. Kamada sends it into Bournemouth's penalty area. They're dealing really well, Bournemouth, with set pieces. It seems to be heads of those in salmon pink on all the Palace deliveries at the moment. And now Semenyo trying to open up the picture with the ball out towards the left-hand side. Kluivert getting away from Munoz. He's coming back in field here. Justin Kluivert on for Tavernier. And now Alex Jimenez, who's joining in deep inside Palace's half. He's moved into the box. He's prodded it with his right foot. And then the shot from Tyler Adams, which is scooped up into the air and caught by Dean Henderson. Palace 0, Bournemouth 2 to scoreline. We've played 57 minutes.
Yeah, and it's just a typical one where we've had a handball shout, you've had an offside shout, and every single home fan here at Selhurst Park is claiming for absolutely everything now. So I think the volume's going to turn up. And
here's Mateta, and the flag is up. Even though there was a short delay, and just for a moment you thought, is he not going to be given offside here? But the assistant referee was just waiting, as he needs to do, as is part of the laws of the game these days, before raising the flag. So Bournemouth free kick.
Yeah, it certainly looked like he was offside on the initial flick. I think Sarr flicked it on with a header, and Mateta just caught offside. And again, Diakite does fantastically well to read the situation just as it approaches the centre circle in his own half, and he steps up, catches Mateta offside.
Bristol Rovers 0, Tranmere 2 in League 2. Let's have a look to see what other goals have gone in. MK Dons have gone 3-0 up against Crewe Alexandra. AFC Wimbledon have come from behind to lead at Plymouth Argyle, so they are 2-1 up. The Championship leaders, Coventry City, 1-0 up against Blackburn Rovers. Victor Torp has got the opening goal for Frank Lampard's team, and Grimsby have scored first against Gillingham just before the hour mark. Grimsby 1, Gillingham 0. 2-0 Bournemouth lead here, and Bournemouth in possession as well, as the ball is swept towards Tavernier, intercepted by Mitchell on the edge of his own box, but can't find Mateta with his pass forward. Diakite with the interception, and then Tavernier out to Junior Krupi, Bournemouth's goal scorer, with the 2. Jimenez into the penalty area. Scott looking to pull it back. Kamada sliding at his feet. Corner to Bournemouth.
Yeah, brilliant. And just the way they attacking at the moment with such flow and understanding, and Jimenez down this right-hand side is brilliant, driving forward, the use of his ball, and Alex Scott runs just inside to the penalty area towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and the reverse pass from Jimenez is in his path, but it's just cut out for a corner. But again, there's 6 players from Bournemouth in that salmon pink kit just inside Crystal Palace's 18-yard box, and they're still committing bodies forward to try and kill this game off.
Yeah, it's a colourful pond at the moment inside Palace's 6-yard box with all the Palace and the Bournemouth shirts in there. And the corner from Tavernier in front of the Holmesdale Road end from the right, in swinger with his left foot. Richard's got his head to it. He's going to need to get more on it here because Munoz is trying to clear it away, and then Scott went for the volley. Mateta was in his way, in his vision, and eventually the flag is up for offside. So it's going to be a Palace free kick. Coventry have scored 2 very quick goals against Blackburn, so they're 2-0 up now. And Manchester City lead against Everton. I'll give you the one guess, Luke Chambers, as to who's got the goal for City.
I'll let you answer that one. It's for everyone to know. I'm sure he'll be in everyone's dream team.
Yes, well, he's certainly in mine. He's got the armband on again in the fantasy team for me. Is he in your fantasy side, Erling Haaland?
Oh, I don't have time to do the fantasy.
No, I didn't think you did. No. Far too grown up for that, aren't you? Here's Adam Wharton for Palace, who were 2-0 down here as we move towards the hour. But he's got too much on the pass out towards Sarr, and it's bounced out of play, much to Palace fans' frustration, for a Bournemouth throw midway inside their half on the left.
I think that sums up Crystal Palace so far this afternoon. Their best and most informed players have just been a little bit below the level, and we know how good Adam Wharton is, but his use of the ball today He's not been at the level we've been used to seeing from him, so I think that's the difference. Mateta's had a few chances again. The level we're used to seeing him at has just been below it, and I think that's where Bournemouth are benefiting from this afternoon.
We're in London today. We'll be in London for both our Champions League live games on 5 Live this week. In the north for Arsenal against Atletico Madrid on Tuesday, and in the west for Chelsea against Ajax on Wednesday night. Plus we'll be across everything else that is happening on another very big week of European football for English and Scottish teams, as the ball is retrieved by Tyreek Mitchell for Palace. Oh, it's given away by Kamada. Straight to Junior Krupi. Infield for Cliver. On for Semenyo. Crashes his shot over the bar with his left foot. Lots of power. Maybe too much power. It was the placement that was lacking from Semenyo. And Kamada breathes a sigh of relief.
And again, Kamada giving the ball away so sloppily. 30 yards from his own goal. Into the path of Krupi, slows the play down, rolls it inside, just outside the D of 18-yard box of Crystal Palace to Cliver, rolls it across into Semenyo, and we're used to seeing that net bulge, and he just lifts it over the crossbar with his left foot. But it's a fantastic strike, just off target.
I was at that Fulham game, Luke, a couple of weeks ago when Antoine Semenyo scored 2 goals, and the first one that he scored to bring Bournemouth level at 1-1 was absolutely mesmerising.
It's just his technique at the moment and how effortless he strikes the ball and the power that he can put behind it. His technique has been spot on, and the credit to him, he's available most weeks, he's on the pitch, he's improving week in, week out, and when you're playing in that sort of flow, it just allows you to do things without even thinking about it, and that's the way he's playing at the moment.
With Jeremy Pino now in the book for Crystal Palace, because he's had a double hand grab of the waist of Alex Jimenez, the Bournemouth right back there, who was moving away from him. So a booking for the Spaniard Jeremy Pino.
Yeah, that sums up the frustration from Crystal Palace, and he almost had a little kick out as well at the end, so a little bit of petulance from him. And Crystal Palace are going to need every single player now to sort of take a deep breath, regain a little bit of composure, just to settle themselves back into the game, because there's still lots of time to go. We know that once the crowd gets rocking at Selhurst Park, it's very, very difficult to control. So any chance now that they get and they take, it could certainly spin this game on its head.
It's given away by Pino, straight to Semenyo, tried a crossfield pass, getting it back to Semenyo, edge of Palace's penalty area, pushes it into the path of Tavernier off the right-hand side. Tavernier holds onto it, gives it to Jimenez. Jimenez with the step over, bounces off the legs of Pino, and then with a little back heel gets it to Mitchell, who immediately tries to release Mateta upfield. Mateta a bit too strong, he's a bit too quick. Senesi didn't want to commit, he was on a yellow card. Mateta goes on, Mateta's ball too much for Sarr, kept alive by Munoz as it comes back into the penalty area again, and then Pino from the edge of the box, way over the top of the crossbar.
First time that we've seen Jean-Philippe Mateta get down the outside of Bournemouth, and he's made up the strides there to get away from Senesi, who has to stand up because he's now on that yellow card, and he gets himself just inside Bournemouth's 18-yard box and dips across to the back post. And unfortunately for Crystal Palace, there's not enough bodies in the box, and they keep it alive, but the quality from Munoz with the ball back across from the far side isn't anywhere where it needs to be. And again, Bournemouth regain control, and Pino's a speculative effort on the volley from 30 yards out. It flies over the crossbar.
And his last piece of action of the game as well, Jeremy Pino, because he is the first Crystal Palace change that Oliver Glasner has made here. Him off, Eddie Nketiah on into the 64th minute with the scoreline Palace 0, Bournemouth 2. Ismaila Sarr trying to make it happen on the right-hand side. Munoz's delivery was too high for Mateta and calmly headed away by Alex Jimenez, picked up again by Lacroix, who punches his pass forward to Mateta into the box for Sarr. Munoz joining into his right. Munoz all the way across, and it's in. They've got one back. Jean-Philippe Mateta was waiting, but it appears that the flag has been raised here and the Palace goal is not going to count. Jean-Philippe Mateta was running back to the halfway line with the ball in his hands, but referee Jared Gillett has halted the celebrations, and there's a few perplexed Palace looks as to why. Luke Chambers.
Well, we're just seeing the replay here. Sarr lays it in. It does not look like an offside from me initially. The ball is weighted perfectly for Munoz. Fantastic delivery, and that man that I have been critical of this afternoon, Mateta, opens his body up past the front post with his left foot and smashes it into the back of the net, and it looks like to me initially there is not going to be ruled out.
Yeah, so let's wait and see. VAR are now giving us the display on our screen for us to try and work out exactly which decision it is, and it may well be that they wondered whether Mateta was offside from the initial ball forward from Lacroix that came up to him on the edge of the box.
Yeah, and I think we're now seeing that he looks onside as well from our position. So they're looking at every single stage from the back. I think the ball comes forward initially from Lacroix, just inside Bournemouth's half by the centre circle, and he's onside in that position. So every phase that we've seen so far, it certainly looks like this goal will stand, and this is going to be a real interesting final 25 minutes.
Yeah, and Jared Gillett is just giving the instructions to the players to wait. We've already had that long delay when they were determining whether he was going to be sent off or not. And now we get the confirmation that the Palace goal stands. So Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's having this great week, a first goal for his country, France, and back with his club team, Crystal Palace, and he has his third Premier League goal of the season, and Palace are back in it. Palace 1, Bournemouth 2.
Absolutely, and if that's not an indication for any young forward, any striker having maybe a difficult afternoon, to just stay in the right areas, keep making the runs, keep persisting, that is that there for him, because he's missed some real good chances for his side this afternoon, and that one there was probably one of the hardest, and he's absolutely buried it off his left foot, and game on.
Yeah, and now we will see whether this Crystal Palace team, who, remember, have been on that remarkable 19 game unbeaten run, club record up until 2 weeks ago when they lost to Everton. We're going to see the character of this Palace squad now, as we are Bournemouth as well, and whether they can hang on to the lead and hang on to their position at the top of the Premier League.
Well, Bournemouth was certainly still really in control of the game, but one bit of quality. Ball goes into Mateta, he looks after it, he lays it off to Sarr. Sarr takes care with the pass, delivers it into Munos's, and all it takes sometimes is everyone to just do their job a little bit better, and you find yourself back into the game. But Bournemouth, I don't think they'll panic. Doesn't seem to be too much panic. I think as we see Alex Scott come off the pitch, I think Christie's coming on. But yeah, it's about sticking to what they've been doing, because they have been by far and away the better side this afternoon. But now we've seen the atmosphere lift, the noise has lifted. There's another ball opportunity for Henderson to deliver the ball forward, so we'll see how they stand up to it.
Yeah, so Ryan Christie on for Bournemouth off the back of scoring a big goal for his country, Scotland, against Greece during the World Cup qualifiers last week. Just perhaps to give an experienced head in the midfield for Bournemouth, who are breaking on Palace here with Semenyo from the halfway line on the left-hand side, up against Lacroix, and there's others joining in as well. The cross into the box, Gay with the interception before it could come through to Junior Krupi, and Mateta down the other end. Out comes Petrovic, heads it away. Sarr decides not to let it go out for a throw. He's going to keep the Palace attack rolling here. Ismaila Sarr running in from the right wing, laid back for Wharton. 2 on the scoreline to Bournemouth, but Palace with their tails up here. This is Kamada, 10 yards outside the box, just left of centre. He's giving it to Gay. Gay out to Mitchell on this left-hand side. Mitchell back into the middle for Kamada. Kamada swinging it in. Munoz. Mateta squeezes it in for 2-2. And Jean-Philippe Mateta with the quick Palace goals. We've got a double-double today. Ellie Junior Krupi for Bournemouth with 2, and now Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Palace from 2-0 down a level. Palace 2, Bournemouth 2.
What a turnaround, and what a place to do it at Selhurst Park. The place has just lifted the lid off. It's unbelievable turnaround. The quality in the attack inside the space of 5 minutes for Crystal Palace has been remarkable. It's that man again down that right-hand side, Daniel Munoz with his delivery across, and it's almost like everyone in Nketiah's disappointment at the back post. The ball's played over, Munoz comes in by the 6-yard box, fires it across on the half volley, brilliant control, it evades Petrovic, and Mateta with the biggest stretch of his life with that left foot is able to keep it inside that back post, and it's a fantastically executed goal from Crystal Palace.
And he had, Luke, such little time to react to that, Mateta, because of the touch on the goalkeeper Petrovic.
Yeah, he just got his fingertips to it, and I think you see the disappointment on Nketiah. He thinks he's got a tap in, and it just misses him, but he's almost done the splits to keep that inside. And after me criticising his performance so far this afternoon, what a turnaround from him.
Yeah, and what a turnaround from Palace from 2-0 down, 2-2 against Bournemouth as we move into the final 20 minutes here on 5 Live Sports Extra. And this is exactly the sort of game now that I think as a neutral we hoped it might be. Two brilliant football teams in the Premier League going at it hammer and tong, and Selhurst Park is alive.
Oh, it's absolutely kicked off in here now, and I think every decision is being cheered, every tackle's being cheered. It's fantastic atmosphere, and it's now Bournemouth after having been so much in control and been given an almost perfect away performance. The questions are now going to be asked, can you hang on in such an electric environment?
And we've just seen a shot on our screens of Steve Parish, the Palace chairman, and Mark Bright, who is always alongside him in the director's box, and Mark Bright was almost nodding along with the rhythmic chanting there of the Crystal Palace supporters. He's enjoying it, and Palace are again here. Northampton has scored at Doncaster, so they're now leading by 2-1. Erling Haaland's got a second of the afternoon for Manchester City, so it's now Man City 2, Everton 0. That's our commentary right now over on 5 Live, and Burnley have scored again against Leeds, so Scott Parker's side, by my reckoning, and I will double check this, are going to get themselves out of the Premier League bottom 3 with that result, because Nottingham Forest lost earlier to Chelsea, so they are in the relegation zone.
And that's what we spoke about, so without doubt they're in a relegation scrap now.
Great atmosphere, 2-2 the scoreline. Palace throw, Richards to take it. On the opposite side to us, the right, Palace going from right to left in this second half. Chris Richards with the big hair throws it in, the flick on from Lacroix, and the claim from Petrovic in the Bournemouth goal. We're set up for a beautiful finale here on 5 Live Sports Extra and on BBC Sounds. 2-2 between Palace and Bournemouth, and Luke Chambers, former EFL defender, with us on commentary.
Yeah, and the big thing I've noticed is Palace have almost gone 3-4-3. 3 up front, Nketiah, Mateta and Sarr, leaving Wharton into centre midfield with Kamada, and it's just a completely different side we've seen.
Here's Jimenez for Bournemouth, driving one into the box, nearly came to Semenyo. Munoz got a toe to it, picked up by Nketiah, who was caught by Tyler Adams, and Tyler Adams is penalised. He gets a little tap on the back of Eddie Nketiah as he gets up to his feet. A little word from Jared Gillard as well. Free kick Palace.
Yeah, definitely. I think the frustration came because I think Palace were away on the break. But yeah, rightly so. Slows it down. But you'll notice now it's almost 3-4-3 for Crystal Palace. Mitchell's playing high and wide. Munoz is playing high and wide. Mateta, like I mentioned, down through the middle. And they've really regrouped. Richards has gone man for man with Semenyo. It's almost like they've left 3 at the back to get back into it. So we'll see if they do change that to maybe solidify their position, or whether they continue to press to try and get that goal to take it to 3-2. Having
sat through, Luke, a dire 0-0 between these two here last season, this is very welcome viewing, I can tell you. Here's Nketiah. Nketiah has come through to Sarr. Sarr into the box. He's tumbled over, and the referee has waved that penalty claim for Crystal Palace away.
Absolutely got it wrong for me. The hand goes in the back from Senesi. Sarr is away through on goal, and the hand unsettles him. He takes his touch with his right foot outside the 18-yard box. The left hand from Senesi pushes him on his right arm, and he goes down. I think it's a foul for me, so we'll have to see it back again. But the pace he's running at, that is enough to put him off his stride and for him to go down.
There's going to be no VAR review, because actually it was just outside the box, and it certainly wouldn't be classified as a red card offence, though of course had the referee decided to penalise Senesi, he would have been booked for a second time and would have been sent off, having had that yellow card and been involved in all the controversy earlier in this half as to whether he should have received a straight red card for a potential denial of a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. But that one there, I think when these players run at the pace they do with the acceleration, I think it has to be considered that he's only gone down because of his touch.
Here's Nketiah trying to wriggle away from Diakite, who on his knees, well on one knee anyway, manages to hook the ball out of play. Bournemouth are preparing a triple change here, so maybe that is reflective of the situation that Andoni Iraola feels that his team are creeping into, because we are going to see from the bench here James Hill, the defender. I can see Ben Gannon-Doak, the Scottish international, down there, as well as 3 Bournemouth players down there, aren't they, making that change? We'll get clarification of who that last one is in just a moment. It may well be Amin Adli, actually.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Moroccan with the who's going to provide the third change for Bournemouth. So off comes Kluivert, the goal scorer Eli Junior Krupi, and there's going to be one more as well, maybe Alex Jimenez. That's the triple change, I think, for Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think he's had to change something because they need to stop the flow, stop the tide of Crystal Palace. They're just streaming forward with that front three, straight through the middle of Bournemouth, chance after chance, ball through. What a different 45 minutes compared to that first one. And the response from Crystal Palace, every single player has lifted their level within the last 15 minutes to a level that we've been used to seeing to them.
So 2-2, 15 minutes to play at Selhurst Park. Chris Richards with the Palace throw. Another lengthy one into the box. Over comes Senesi. It's bounced off his and Truffaire's head, almost a combination of the pair. And behind for a corner. And Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's got both the Palace goals, stalking the penalty area at the moment. Palace have played the corner short. It's deflected wide. It may have come off a Palace player. I think Sarr was rather close to it. I won't lie, Luke, my view of that was completely obscured by the giant pillar that was in my way.
Yeah, I think it was Gahey in the end who almost took a quick corner, gave it into Wharton, who drove it into the edge of the box to Munoz, who then reversed it back into Gahey, who crossed it first time across the 6-yard box with his right foot. And I think it was Sarr who just couldn't direct it inside the front post, and it was a real chance that Bournemouth were left napping on it, and it didn't seem to respond to the quick corner in any way, shape or form.
This is Semenyo chasing something. It should be goalkeeper Henderson's, who's just come to the edge of his penalty area to make sure he's in control of the situation and takes the ball. Walsall have got one back against Barrow, so it's Walsall 1, Barrow 2, and Preston have halved the deficit against West Brom in the Championship as well. So West Bromwich Albion 2, Preston North End 1, the scoreline now, as Palace, who are very much the prominent team at the moment, burst forward with Munoz down the right. The pull back for Mitchell. It's Mateta who was on a hat-trick. Shot blocked. Mateta again! And it goes in for 3-2! Nketiah got the touch, but Nketiah in the offside position, so it isn't going to count, and it's still 2-2, much to Bournemouth's relief.
And again, I mentioned how high and wide the two wing-backs are playing, and it's Mitchell that delivers it inside, and then they go across to Munoz. It breaks out to Mateta, who gets a great strike off. It's blocked well, and it's then his reverse shot from just outside the 6-yard box, back across goal with his left foot. And I think it's Sarr and Nketiah who find themselves offside. And I was looking straight away because from our angle it looked like they were offside, and I think immediately the flag went up. But again, the roof was lifted off Selhurst Park.
And we've had the quick confirmation that VAR have had a look at it. Well, they don't need to look at it. We've got the semi-automated offside technology, so that's all they need to look at. And we are going to continue here. Do you note that sort of blockbuster-esque noise every time there's a VAR check? There's like a what in the radio industry you call a stab that comes across the PA system, which makes this big booming noise like it's some sort of massive Hollywood very American, that, isn't it? Here is Christie for Bournemouth, trying to thread it through for Semenyo. Gay just uses the left arm just to nudge Semenyo out of the way, and then puts it out of play with his left boot for a Bournemouth throw, high up inside Palace's half on the right.
Yeah, first real bit of play, positive bit of play that Bournemouth have had inside the last 10-15 minutes especially, because it's been all Palace, and just a ball inside the 18-yard box that Gahey again, I think he's an absolute Rolls Royce. So when he has to sprint or lift the level of his pace, he can just do it at ease, and he did that well, deals with the danger.
168th Crystal Palace appearance today for Mark Gay. James Hill with the Bournemouth throw. That's a long one as well, off Lacroix's head to keep the ball going in that direction. It's now on the far left-hand side with Tavernier, and Bournemouth working it back in field with Tyler Adams, 40 yards out. Adams has got too much purchase with his right-footed curling delivery, and it bounces away for a goal kick.
Yeah, and I think Iriola will be absolutely furious with that decision. He's in the middle of Crystal Palace's half, and he's tried almost like a diagonal ball to the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's too straight. There's not enough space in behind, and Mitchell just holds his ground and sees off any danger, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Mateta becoming such a force in this game now with the hold-up play. It goes back to Adam Wharton, who gives it to Richards and then on to Munoz, and Wharton has made his way through Bournemouth's midfield, and he's got the pass as well for Nketiah, which Diakite, to his credit, managed to readjust his head from an almost impossible angle to get something on it to clear it away for Bournemouth, and Semenyo's offside, so Palace have a free kick and they're going to take it quickly. They've given it to Daichi Kamada trying to loop it out to Munoz, who wins the header to divert it across the edge of Bournemouth's penalty area. Hill with the headed clearance, Wharton with the nod down to Munoz, and out of play for a Palace throw on the right. 2-2 and 10 minutes to play. Luke Chambers.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace are almost playing now with a front four at times. Mitchell is playing as a left winger, Munoz is playing as a right winger. You've got Sarr and Mateta through the middle that are just taking care of Diakite and Senesi, and Nketiah is just balancing off in between the two and finding these pockets, and Bournemouth just haven't got an answer from it. It now finds itself on the right hand side again with Munoz, and it's all Crystal Palace at the moment because of that.
Yeah, the way that Palace have recharged themselves since being 2-0 down with those goals from Mateta in the 64th and the 69th minute is really impressive, as Lacroix wins Palace a free kick 20 yards outside Bournemouth's penalty area, ever so slightly left of centre.
Yeah, a good chance for them now, but it's just they're using that extra man, that extra body, whereas in the first half they played with a flat back five almost. I think they were concerned by Semenyo's threat, which they then dropped Munoz in, which Kluivert was playing on the right hand side up against Richards, so that Bournemouth were occupying Palace, but now it's complete role reversal, and Palace in every situation scenario they're outnumbering Bournemouth all over the pitch.
This is going to be worth a watch tonight on Match of the Day, which is on BBC One from 10:30. Alan Shearer and Michael Richards are with Gabby Logan in the studio. Bournemouth 2-0 up, 1-0 at half-time, and 2-0 at half-time with the goals from Junior Krupi, and then the two from Mateta to get Palace back into it. Short free kick taken by Palace, and Mateta eased out of it by Senesi, who tries to get Bournemouth moving with Tavernier, who slipped it through really well. This is Adley with the pull across, and a magnificent piece of defending from Munoz, who celebrates that as he diverts the ball behind for a corner, like he's just scored a goal. Daniel Munoz fist pumping in front of the Holmesdale Road corner. Bournemouth.
Well, he certainly diverted a certain goal, because it's a fantastic bit of defending. I think it's from Hill, who releases Tavernier, who plays a great ball inside the 18-yard box for Adley to run onto, and he has to play it, for me, first time. Ben Doak is in the middle of the 6-yard box to just tap it in. He takes the extra touch, which allows Munoz to make up that ground and cut it out for the easy tap in.
The majestic Munoz, so good at going in both directions. It's like one of those hares on a greyhound track that just keeps on moving. Bournemouth corner, 2-2 the scoreline. Tavernier in swinger, left foot, Richards wins it ahead of Senesi on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Wharton completes the clearance upfield, and Nketiah is going to try and run down Truefair here, who hastily has cleared it. Diakite can't get hold of it for Bournemouth. Munoz picks it up for Palace. Mateta on the halfway line, back for Lacroix, and Palace rebuild with Gay from the back. Luke Chambers.
Yeah, and it's just Bournemouth immediately dropping into shape, whereas in the first half, every single time they had the chance, they had all their bodies in Crystal Palace's half, pressing high around the 18-yard box, but now they're dropping into shape. But once Crystal Palace get possession, they're playing past Semenyo, they're playing past Doak, they're playing past any attacking threat, and as they were in the first half, and I mentioned, they're dropping 11 men behind the ball. At the moment, they're not, and that's where Crystal Palace are exploiting the space.
We're in the 84th minute, 2-2 the scoreline. Nick Volter-Marder's equalised for Newcastle at Brighton. It's 1-1. Here's Mitchell across the edge of the 6-yard box. Nketiah gave it absolutely everything at the far post. He threw himself at that, the Crystal Palace substitute, and he couldn't quite reach it, and behind it goes for a goal kick.
And it's a great bit of play inside the left channel for Mitchell, who almost hits a perfect cross, and in the end there's just not enough bend on it to bring it back along the line of the 6-yard box for a tap-in for Nketiah. But another warning sign for Bournemouth. They have to change something, because every time they get the ball forward, either Munoz or Mitchell is in behind and delivering into the 6-yard box.
Accrington Stanley 3-0 up against Swindon now in League Two, as the free kick is taken by Petrovic upfield. Lacroix wins the header for Palace, taken down by Christie, who gives it to Truefair just inside Crystal Palace's territory. Bournemouth going from left to right in this second half. Diakite short towards James Hill just trying to lift it over the head of Mitchell to get it to Adley, which didn't work. And Nketiah, part of a Bournemouth sandwich there between Hill and Adley, and then Diakite and Mateta have a coming together. The referee hasn't seen anything in that, as Lacroix chooses to leave the ball and then head it back to goalkeeper Dean Henderson with 5 minutes to play at Selhurst Park.
Oh, it's going to be a really interesting 5 minutes, and it's like we said, it's been all Crystal Palace in this second half. And again, Dean Henderson brings the ball out 30 yards from his own goal. He's smashed it up to Mateta, and there's bodies round it.
Mateta winning another header, so impactful in this second half, as Mitchell thinks he's got a corner. Last touch has come off him, according to referee Gillett. Goal kick the decision.
It's just going to be who now manages this last 5 or 10 minutes, and I think if Bournemouth can just try and slow things down, try and take a little bit more possession, I think they'll be able to see this and almost be one they got away with. But I think Crystal Palace aren't going to settle for this draw now. I think they're going to be throwing absolutely everything to this final 5 minutes.
I'm just watching Oliver Glasner down there, the Palace coach, with his tight little Crystal Palace jacket on, who is giving instructions with such vigour to his team, even in these closing seconds. I mean, he senses, doesn't he? You can tell by his body language that Palace can win this game, and it would be quite the win as well from 2-0 down. Mateta not able to release Sarr down the left-hand side for Palace, but excellent closing down for the attempted clearance. Gets the ball back for Palace again, and Kamada is tripped by Christie. Free kick to Crystal Palace inside Bournemouth's half.
Can't just keep giving these free kicks away. You've got to have a little bit of calmness about you now, and we've just watched Diakite run all the way out from centre-half position to the halfway line with Mateta and get turned, played around, and that's when you're going to start causing yourself problems. He's going to have to get his teammates into a solid shape, men behind the ball, and be difficult to break down, because that's totally the opposite to what Bournemouth are doing at the moment. There's a chance now for Palace to deliver a ball about 40 yards out as on a diagonal into Bournemouth's 18-yard box.
Yeah, Kamada and Wharton are the two Palace players over this free kick here, as Kamada moves away from the situation, so it's going to be Wharton with his left foot. Petrovic has committed. The goalkeeper, he sort of had a bit of a feel for it, never really had hold of it, the goalkeeper. Then he does claim it. He tries to quickly send the ball upfield for Gannon Doak. Mitchell comes over to help out his centre-halves with the clearance, and then Semenyo gives away the free kick. And Palace on the halfway line have got another opportunity to send bodies forward here.
Yeah, and it just seems every couple of minutes there's another free kick. I don't know whether Bournemouth have run out a little bit of steam, but it just seems to be they can't keep making the wrong decision and keep getting away with it.
Yeah, they tried to take that free kick short, Crystal Palace, and Lacroix's pass has been intercepted, and Bournemouth now with Ryan Christie is stopped by Wharton, who is, as ever, here, there and everywhere, the young Palace midfielder. If you were listening to the coverage of the Women's Cricket World Cup earlier, that game between New Zealand and Pakistan has actually been abandoned because of the rain, so there will be no continuation of the coverage of that game here on 5 Live Sports Extra, as was planned after this game here at Selhurst Park. And we've got more live Women's World Cup cricket for you tomorrow. England against India, which will be from 10:30 on 5 Live Sports Extra. Ball-by-ball coverage available for you as always, and on BBC Sounds as well. Here is Trufair for Bournemouth, the left back for Gannon Doak for Tavernier all the way across. Christie's there, and Bournemouth might have pinched this with minutes to go. Ryan Christie off the bench to score, and maybe that is the goal that's going to send Bournemouth to the top of the Premier League table. They lead again. Palace 2, Bournemouth 3.
And Selhurst Park is absolutely silent, and all we said was, can Bournemouth get a bit of possession? Can they slow things down? And that's exactly what they've done. They've worked the ball tremendously out to the far left side. Got in behind with Doak, who delivers a great ball across. It's Trufair who brings the ball right down the outside. Doak then plays it in, and it's the ball that comes across the 6-yard box, and it's Christie again. Bournemouth committing so many balls forward. Christie just inside the 6-yard box, and the smiles on the faces and the animation that these Bournemouth players are showing, it's just a remarkable turnaround.
And what a week or so for Ryan Christie, having scored the goal that effectively began the turnaround for his country, Scotland, against Greece in that massive World Cup qualifier, and he's just scored the goal that spun the game back in Bournemouth's favour here. Palace 2, Bournemouth 3, and that is Ryan Christie's first Premier League goal since February. They don't come around too often, and that is a priceless one.
It's just incredible, the turnaround that they've made, and it just came in the last 5 minutes, and you start to think the game is on a knife edge, and you knew Palace were going to put bodies forward because of the emotion of getting themselves back into the game, but they've been caught cold there. But it's the first bit of good play that Bournemouth had in the second half, and it's been, the pass was on point, the cross from Tavernier was on point, and the commitment from Christie coming on as a substitute, and like you say, the week that he's had to get in there and score that more than likely looks like the winner is fantastic for him.
However, we have just seen on Simon Hooper's small digital board that there are going to be 8 minutes of stoppage time at Selhurst Park, and off the back of that, Oliver Glasner, the Palace coach, was very visibly telling his players, you've got plenty of time to do something about this.
Oh, definitely, they're not going to stop now, especially seeing that, and I think just the initial shock made everyone think, oh, we've thrown this away, but 8 minutes is more than enough time. They scored 2 inside that in the second half, so they're going to put bodies forward. They just need to stay calm, and when that chance comes, and I'm sure they'll get a chance in this next 8 minutes, that they're going to have to try and take it.
They're trying to shore things up as well. Lewis Cook's come on for Marcus Tavernier, as out comes Petrovic, the Bournemouth goalkeeper. Really commanding take from him from that Palace free kick from the halfway line, easing the pressure on his side.
And that is the dream as a defender. You see your goalkeeper come so far and claim it so comfortably. Brilliant from the goalkeeper.
Gannon Doku looks G'd up now, having played his part in that Bournemouth goal, which looks like it's going to be the Bournemouth winner, but he doesn't get away from his man. And now Palace try and launch an attack on Bournemouth, but the pass is too heavy for Ismail Assar. It's out for a Bournemouth throw. And we've got one Tavernier here. His brother's actually just scored for Rangers, James Tavernier. He's made it 2-2 for Rangers against Dundee United at Ibrox. Well, this is going to be a really intriguing stoppage time period at Selhurst Park, because as it stands, Bournemouth 17 points from 8 Premier League games, and they've gone above Spurs and Liverpool and Arsenal, and actually Manchester City, because they're leading Everton. They're also above Arsenal, so they're up into second right now. And Fulham against Arsenal to come from 5:30 on 5 Live tonight.
Well, they'll do well to beat the game we've witnessed here this afternoon. What a fantastic advert for the Premier League. 2 teams going at it on real good form, and like you say, you don't want to drink it before the game because the previous meetings were so dull, but today we've witnessed absolutely everything. The quality on show from an attacking sense, and even at times some of the defending we've seen, but the game's far from over at the moment.
Yeah, and Palace still believe. Henderson with the long ball forward, Diakite clambering to get there ahead of Mateta, and he does, the Bournemouth defender. Richards powering a header back in the opposite direction for Palace. It's just inside Bournemouth's half at the moment, as Mitchell using his frame really well, getting it to Nketiah. It's bounced out for Kamada, picked up by Gay. Nketiah's into the box on his left foot. His shot is repelled, and Lewis Cook there to hook it out of play for a Palace throw.
And that's not the first time we're going to mention his name today, and we have done. It's Tyler Adams. Big gap appeared just inside his own 18-yard box. He comes across, senses the danger from Nketiah, and dives in front of that one to keep it 3-2. Fantastic from him in that central midfield area. Great responsibility he's shown this afternoon.
So we're at the midway point of this 8 minutes of stoppage time. 4 played after the 90. Palace with the throw. Richards sending it into the 6-yard box of Bournemouth again, who defending admirably to get it out of the penalty area. Mitchell, the left back, swinging it back in with his left foot. Again, a Bournemouth head on the ball, and Chris Richards keeping it alive. It's not clear, then Richards hits it, and via a little deflection, the ball spins away just past the post and behind for a Palace corner.
Yeah, Palace have got 7 men in Bournemouth's 18-yard box, attacking every single ball that dropped down. It dropped down to Richards on his right foot, and he's done well to keep it on target. But another Bournemouth body in that salmon pink throws himself in the way of it.
Are we going to have another twist in this game? 3-2 in Bournemouth's favour. But it's Kamada with the Palace corner. The right-footed, the header from Munoz is somehow repelled, and then it's hooked up and away and behind, and it's going to be another Crystal Palace corner. How close were they to an equaliser?
I just can't believe the net hasn't rippled. It's a fantastic delivery over everyone, but it's kept out somehow. I think it's almost hit one of Bournemouth's defenders. It happened so quickly we couldn't see.
There's another corner coming from Kamada. That's a very deep one, and there was two players at the back post who were scrambling with each other, and the referee has penalised Antoine Semenyo and said penalty Crystal Palace, and the Bournemouth players are surrounding Jared Gillett to offer their protest. I think it was Mark Gay and Antoine Semenyo tangling at the back post, and the referee has deemed that the contact was worthy of a penalty.
I think it might have been Diakite, but my vision was blocked by the bollard at the stadium. But there's two bodies that go down, but it's Gay around the back post, and it looks like they're both at it. But I do think it's Diakite who's brought him down as he tries to spin round the back post. It's a left arm, comes across Gay, he's middle, and they both fall to the floor. And there's so many protests now. What a big decision to be given at this stage.
Yeah, and obviously VAR and that big booming blockbuster music played over the PA system again, just to let everybody know that this is dramatic. But I mean, this really is dramatic. There were two things going on there. Semenyo having a little pull at Lacroix, but I think you're right, Luke, that the one that Jared Gillett has spotted is the coming together between Diakite and Mark Gay, and we know that this is something in the Premier League that they are cutting back on this season, pulling from corners.
Listen, every team in the country has been able to have a presentation and told, we will be clamping down on this. And it is a penalty. His left arm comes round Gahey, who manages to get away, and he will be getting to that ball at the back post. So it's a denying of an opportunity for him to get on that corner, and the penalty has been given by VAR.
Yeah, it's been confirmed. Diakite has got his mouth agape. He's put his hands up to his face. He can't believe it. And we are in the 7th minute of stoppage time, and Jean-Philippe Mateta with 2 goals already today, with what may well be one of the last kicks of the game, with the chance to make it 3-3 on this extraordinary afternoon at Selhurst Park. A hat-trick possibly awaiting Jean-Philippe Mateta. Here he comes with his right foot, smoothly done into the corner. Petrovic went to his left, Mateta went the other way, and Jean-Philippe Mateta has a Crystal Palace hat-trick, and they have an equaliser 7 minutes into stoppage time at a raucous Selhurst Park. Palace 3, Bournemouth 3.
And we said the game wasn't over. It's been absolutely incredible end-to-end stuff. It's been all Crystal Palace this afternoon. It's been that man, Jean-Philippe Mateta, the calmest man in the stadium, with the confidence to score for his country this week. 2 again this afternoon, and just rolls it in the opposite corner to Petrovic's dive. And there's still 2 minutes left. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and Bournemouth, who have led 2-0 and 3-2, back at 3-3, but still thinking, is there something in terms of one last chance for us in this? As Senesi gets it forward for Semenyo, it drops on the edge of the box. Munoz gets a boot to it. Trufair with the nod down, trying to keep it ticking again with Tyler Adams, Bournemouth in midfield, and they've won a free kick here. The foul by Munoz, slightly needlessly going into his man. 8 minutes into stoppage time, we're about to go into the 9th, and Gannon Doak has won Bournemouth a set piece here on the left wing.
Well, you wouldn't be surprised if they get one here. It's been that sort of game. It's had absolutely everything, and you look at the penalty that's just been given away, you look at this decision to give a foul away here, and it's that calmness that you need as a defender in these moments.
So, Bournemouth free kick, Christie with it from the left-footed, Mitchell there, he was at the near post, it doesn't clear him, and Palace try and move quickly forward as Trufair stops Wharton and lobs one up to the edge of the penalty area. Diakite fighting for it, Semenyo, and then Henderson with the save, sprawling to his left-hand side. He wants to get it upfield quickly towards Mateta and Nketiah, who have stayed up there for Palace. Up it goes. Mateta won the header. Nketiah's got it. Mateta to win it! He's put it over the bar! That's unbelievable! Jean-Philippe Mateta from 7 yards out with 3 goals already. You'd want it to fall to him, and he's blazed it miles over the top. We should have had the most extraordinary finish, and instead we've got the most extraordinary miss and it's still 3-3.
It comes from Dean Henderson's quick thinking, he gets it and he absolutely smashes it down the pitch. Mateta does brilliantly to bring it down, flicks it through, and you think Eddie Nketiah is going to get his shot off. He has the presence of mind as he gets inside Bournemouth's 18-yard area to cut it back to Mateta. It's slightly bouncing and he's tried to absolutely smash the back of the net, and the contact has just took it miles over the bar, and such an opportunity to be an even bigger hero than he's been this afternoon.
Oh, and the Palace players were on their knees all around him. I mean, they were absolutely convinced that was going to be their moment, and it really should have been for Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's going to have headlines, but their headlines would have been even bolder, even brighter had he taken that.
And he couldn't ask for a better chance. He had so much time, it sat up perfectly, and he's just playing with so much confidence that I think he's just he didn't even lace it. He tried to place it in with his side foot, but really smash it in, and he just needed some calmness to just find the bottom corner.
We're in the 101st minute, and there is the full-time whistle. What a roller coaster, what a rip-roaring occasion at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 3, Bournemouth 3 is how it has finished in one of the games of the Premier League season so far, and what a privilege it's been to be sat here and to watch it today. Bournemouth 2-0 up at half-time with that double from Ellie Junior Krupi. Palace back at 2-2 with the Jean-Philippe Mateta double, and then we thought Ryan Christie had won it with a minute to go. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored a penalty deep into stoppage time, and then has missed the chance for his fourth of the game by sticking one over the bar with the cleanest opportunity of the lot with seconds left. Palace 3, Bournemouth 3. Luke Chambers, how do you reflect on that?
It truly was one of the best games that I have seen in the last 5 or 6 years. Absolutely had everything. Quality on show, even though it finished 3-3. Some really good defending, some discipline, some breaks, some turnovers of possession, some mistakes, some penalties, some red card shouts. You name it, it had absolutely everything. And like you say, a privilege to watch both teams. But after today, we'll look through back on Mateta's performance. He's got a hat-trick. He could have had 6. And I'm not even exaggerating. 6 real good chances that he could have buried today, and you wouldn't have even put it against him.
What's mad is Jean-Philippe Mateta is out there on the pitch. He's got the match ball tucked up underneath his Crystal Palace shirt, but his face is one of utter dejection. He's not happy. He scored a hat-trick, he's got the match ball, and he looks gutted.
And I think that the Palace fans will be gutted as well, and I think the way they've bounced back just shows how far this team's come, and credit to Bournemouth as well to keep going, to get themselves where they thought they were going to win the game. But we will watch that back over and over and over and think, how has he not got those 4 goals this afternoon?
And the other piece of this, of course, is that it seemed like large portions of this game, like Bournemouth were going to be the team at the top of the Premier League table. They will be gutted that they've relinquished leads not once but twice, but in the same breath perhaps slightly relieved they haven't lost the match.
Oh, definitely. To go 3-2 up thinking, yes, we've won it, I've been there, the emotions of the player, and you think, just hold on. They then score an equaliser, and every single Bournemouth player, including the bench, including Iriola, including the fans, hearts would have been in mouths. We think, how have we lost this? And I still don't know how Mateta's not scored that chance. But what a game, what a performance from both teams, what a show of character from both teams, not just in 2 halves of football, but throughout periods. For Bournemouth to get back together after giving away a 2-goal lead, to then come back and take the lead so late on. Palace again come back. It was like a boxing match, absolutely remarkable.
And how good it is as well when you give a game the big build-up, and so often it doesn't deliver when you do that. But today we said these are 2 magnificent teams, and it could be a magnificent game, and it's turned out to be an absolute belter. 3-3 between Palace and Bournemouth. In terms of the Premier League table, Bournemouth 4th, so that is where they began the afternoon, so they've gone on to 15 points from their 8 games, and Palace have dropped from 6th to 8th in the table despite collecting the point, and that is because of some of the scores elsewhere today, which includes Sunderland beating Wolves by 2-0. So Wolves still bottom, still without a Premier League win. Manchester City 2-0 winners over Everton, another double from Erling Haaland. Burnley 2-0 winners against Leeds United as well to move out of the bottom three, and a double from Danny Welbeck today against Newcastle United. Talking of fine wines, he's right there, isn't he, Danny Welbeck? Just season after season scoring goals. Brighton 2, Newcastle United 1 is how it finished at the Amex Stadium.
I still can't get over that performance from both teams today. We're back to Selhurst Park, and what a brilliant game of football, and it had everything, and it's been an absolute pleasure covering that game today. And long may both the pieces of form and the good moments both clubs are having at the moment continue, because even at 2-0 down for Crystal Palace, the fans didn't get on their back, and we've seen a lot of that lately. You look at Nottingham Forest and where they currently are, and I mentioned before I was at the European game when they lost it, and the whole home fan base were chanting for the manager to lose his job, and it's not a nice place to be. So it's really nice to see both sets of fans enjoying the moment that they're in, not getting too caught up in the initial moment of disappointment that look, they're 2-0 down at home at half time. They stayed right behind them, and that shows a club for me that is moving in the right direction and is really together, and I think they can go on and achieve, both these sides, some really good things this season.
Luke Chambers, really good to have you with us on commentary. I hope you enjoyed your first 5 live experience. Unfortunately, they're not always like this.
No, a lot to live up to, but no, I absolutely loved it. Brilliant game of football. Great place to be. Fantastic.
Yeah, pleasure to have you with us. Thank you very much. Former Ipswich and Nottingham Forest defender Luke Chambers with us here on 5 Live.